1. Listen carefully. Heaven has whispered your name, not in secret shadows, not in silence, but in the very council of eternity. Your existence is not the result of accident, nor the outcome of chance. It is divine appointment. Every breath you draw is borrowed from the throne, and every beat of your heart is a reminder that heaven still has business with you on this earth. Do not dismiss these words as coincidence, for the fact that you are here, reading this, is proof enough that the Spirit has arranged this moment. You are not like the rest. While others move blindly through life, you have always felt the pull of something greater, something unexplainable. From your earliest memories, you have sensed that invisible hand upon you. At times it felt heavy. At times it felt like fire. But always it marked you different. The world may not have understood it. Even you may not have understood it. But heaven knew. Heaven named you. Heaven whispered about you. When your name was spoken in that secret council, it was not whispered with hesitation, but with authority. It was not a question, it was a declaration. The Father, the Son, and the Spirit aligned in agreement that you would walk this path, that you would endure this refining, that you would carry this crown. Every tear, every rejection, every moment of silence from people you expected to stand with you, it was all foreseen. Nothing escaped the eyes of the one who called you. Listen closely. Chosen one. You are part of a story written before time began. The enemy has tried to make you believe that you are forgotten, abandoned, overlooked. Yet, even in the wilderness, you were not forsaken. Heaven does not lose track of its chosen ones. Heaven does not misplace crowns. Stop scrolling through life as if you are ordinary. Stop doubting yourself as if your presence on earth was random. Every delay you have endured, every door that seemed locked, every season of waiting was heaven's orchestration, heaven's testing, heaven's shaping. You are being prepared for a weight of glory so profound that even you will stand in awe of what is coming. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. These words are not ancient history. They are living, breathing fire aimed directly at your spirit. Heaven did not call you by mistake. You were known, appointed, and anointed long before the world knew your name. That is why you cannot quit, no matter how tempting it feels. That is why you cannot give up, even when you want to disappear. Heaven has too much invested in you. Beloved, pay attention. The warfare you have experienced is not proof of your weakness. It is proof of your assignment. The enemy does not waste time attacking those who pose no threat. If your battles have been relentless, it is because your light terrifies the darkness. Hell fears you. Demons recognize your name in the spirit realm. You have been seen, marked, and set apart. But now comes your moment of awakening. Heaven has paused everything so you can receive this word. This is not a message to tickle your ears. This is a summons from the throne. You are being reminded who you are, why you are here, and what you must step into. The time of hiding is ending. The time of shrinking is over. The mantle placed upon you cannot remain buried. You may say, "But I feel unworthy." Understand this. Your worthiness was never the requirement. Your obedience is. Heaven specializes in using broken vessels to carry unbreakable glory. What you lack in strength, God will supply in power. What you lack in understanding, God will fill with wisdom. The only question that remains is, will you accept the call? Chosen one. You cannot stay silent. You cannot remain passive. The heavens have aligned. The angels are watching. And your name still echoes in that secret council. You are not a spectator. You are a participant in the divine drama of redemption. And now, the Spirit presses you to rise, to move, to answer. I speak to you directly. Do not delay. Do not procrastinate. This moment is holy. This is your confirmation. Heaven is waiting for your response. If you know this word has pierced your heart, if you sense the fire of recognition burning within your spirit, then respond. Now, do not scroll past. Do not ignore this. Heaven has marked this as your divine intersection. Chosen one. Type below. 77. As you though. It is not just a number. It is a prophetic act. It is you saying, I hear heaven's call. I accept my crown. Do this in faith. And let it be recorded in the unseen realm that you have acknowledged the whisper of heaven's secret counsel. And before this section closes, I call you into covenant with this message. Subscribe. Share this word. And let it echo across nations. Because when you agree with heaven's declaration over your life, you also become a trumpet to awaken others who are chosen but sleeping. This is only the beginning. Heaven has much more to reveal. Chosen one. You were marked long before you ever opened your eyes to the light of this world. The whispers of heaven did not begin the moment you arrived. They began before your arrival, in the hidden realm, in the eternal counsel of the Most High. Your destiny was sealed. You were set apart while still unformed. A thought in the Father's heart. A promise written into time before time began. This is why your existence carries weight. You are not a product of accident or chance alignment. You are the evidence of heaven's intention, the manifestation of God's thought, the proof that the Almighty's design cannot be interrupted. While others may believe that life begins when the world first sees you, the truth is far greater. Your life began when God breathed your name into existence. Pause and reflect. How many times have you felt the pull of destiny even in your earliest days? How often did you sense, even as a child, that something about you was unusual, untamed, unlike those around you? Others may have dismissed it, but you carried an inner knowing that could not be silenced. That awareness is not imagination, it is evidence. Evidence that you were chosen before the world could name you. There is a great mystery here. Chosen ones often feel the weight of separation before they understand it. Even as children, they are marked by a sense of being different. Others play while they question. Others follow trends while they watch in silence. Others laugh freely while they sit in stillness, perceiving things too deep for their age. You too experienced this, those moments where you felt unseen yet observed, overlooked yet profoundly significant. Those early impressions were heaven's fingerprints on your soul. Do you see it now? The battles you have faced, even in youth, were never just random hardships. The enemy recognized your calling before you did. Darkness saw what you carried before you could name it. That is why the attacks came so early, why rejection seemed to follow you, why you felt misunderstood even by those closest to you. The spiritual world knew you were marked, and it moved to resist you from the beginning. Chosen one. The time has come to stop interpreting your story as if it were meaningless pain. Those wounds carried messages. That loneliness carried revelation. Those betrayals carried direction. Heaven used them not to destroy you, but to carve you, to shape you into the vessel prepared for glory. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 4, "For he chose us in him before the world's creation, to be holy and blameless in his sight, set apart in love, destined for his glory." Let these words soak deep into your spirit. You were not chosen at the last moment. You were not chosen when you seemed qualified or strong. You were chosen before the creation of the world, before the first sunrise, before the first star was hung in the sky, before the oceans were gathered into place. Your name was already known in the heavenly council. That means every failure you have endured cannot erase your calling. Every mistake you regret cannot disqualify you from being chosen. God's decision predates your mistakes. His calling existed before your weakness ever showed. To be chosen is not to be perfect. It is to be appointed. Appointed by the one who saw all things and still said, "Yes, this one is mine." Understand this truth. Chosen ones are never common. You may have tried to fit in, but fitting in was never your destiny. You may have tried to silence the voice within you, but heaven refuses to be silenced. You may have attempted to walk the path of others, but every time you found yourself redirected, pulled back, unsettled until you returned to the way God intended. That unsettledness was not confusion, it was protection. Think of how many times you could have been lost, the paths you almost took, the friendships you almost tied yourself to, the decisions that could have led you into destruction, yet somehow, again and again, you were pulled back. At times it looked like disappointment, but it was deliverance. At times it felt like rejection, but it was preservation. The same God who marked you before birth has been shepherding you through every season, even the ones that broke you. Chosen one, you must begin to see yourself through heaven's perspective. Stop judging your worth by how others have treated you. Stop measuring your destiny by what your environment has offered. When heaven called your name, it overruled every earthly limitation. Your background cannot cancel it. Your upbringing cannot silence it. The words spoken against you cannot bury it. You were chosen before all of that. That is why you often feel out of place where others seem comfortable. That is why environments that satisfy others leave you restless. That is why mediocrity feels unbearable to your spirit. You were not made for the ordinary. You were not designed to settle. You were chosen for holiness, set apart for glory, separated for divine purpose. Chosen one, lean into this. Your identity is not in what you do, but in who called you. The world may label you, but those labels are fragile and temporary. Heaven's decree is eternal. God himself whispered your name in the secret council, and no earthly voice can overturn his decision. This is why the journey feels heavy. To be chosen is to be called into responsibility. The world demands conformity, but heaven demands faithfulness. Many can wander, but you cannot. Many can ignore, but you cannot. Many can indulge, but you cannot. Why? Because you were marked, because your spirit is tethered to a higher call. Beloved, stop fighting your difference. Stop despising the weight you carry. You have been set apart, not cast aside. You have been marked, not forgotten. You have been sealed, not abandoned. You are a chosen one, and nothing can erase the eternal choice of God over your life. Chosen one. You have felt it for as long as you can remember, the undeniable difference between you and those around you. Since childhood, it was as if you walked to a rhythm others could not hear. While they laughed without worry, you carried questions too heavy for your age. While they blended easily, you stood apart, sometimes by choice, sometimes by circumstance. You were never meant to blend in, for you were carved out of eternity to stand distinct. This difference has been both a gift and a burden. A gift because it marked you as unique. A burden because it drew misunderstanding and rejection. Teachers may not have understood you. Friends may have laughed at you. Even family may have struggled to see who you truly were. Yet, all of this was confirmation. Heaven's chosen ones rarely fit the mold of the crowd, for they were never designed to. Listen closely. Rejection was not the end of you. It was the revelation of you. If people could not accept you, it is because they were not meant to carry the weight of your calling. You cannot be measured by human opinion when heaven has already stamped you with divine approval. That is why every mocking word, every dismissive glance, every moment of isolation, instead of destroying you, actually proved your identity. There were nights you cried, wondering why you seemed invisible to those whose attention you longed for. Yet invisibility in man's eyes was visibility in heaven's eyes. God was hiding you, shielding you from people who could not be trusted with the treasure inside of you. What felt like abandonment was actually alignment, positioning you for encounters and assignments that only the chosen can walk into. You may have wondered, why can't I just be like them? Why do I always feel apart, even in a crowd? The answer is simple. Chosen ones cannot walk the wide road. The Spirit of God preserved you, guarded you, and sometimes blocked you from the very things you thought you wanted. This preservation may have felt like punishment, but it was protection. Consider this. Had every desire of your younger self been fulfilled, you might have been trapped in circles and cycles that could have destroyed your soul. Heaven's no was not rejection, but direction. The blocked paths, the friendships that fell apart, the doors that slammed shut, they were all guardrails, set in place to keep you aligned with your destiny. What hurt then now proves God's hand was with you, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 21. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Take this deeply into your spirit. The plans of others cannot override the purpose of God. The plans you once made for yourself cannot even override His purpose. That is why you felt frustrated when things never went according to your expectation. It is not because you failed. It is because heaven's purpose outweighed your personal plans. When you thought the detours ruined everything, God was quietly building a better road. When you cried over lost opportunities, heaven was arranging divine alignments. Every frustration became a holy classroom, teaching you trust beyond what eyes could see. The delays, the denials, the disappointments, all were God's tools shaping your destiny. What felt like the end was often the very beginning of a new chapter written by the author of your soul. Chosen one. You carry more than you realize. Even when you were young, others could sense something different about you. Some were drawn to it, others resented it. The light within you provoked both admiration and hostility. And though you may have tried to dim it, tried to silence it, tried to bury it, the truth is undeniable. You were born to shine in ways others cannot. And that light within you, though fragile at times, has never gone out. It flickered in storms, but it endured. It dimmed in sorrow, but it still glowed. That flame is heaven's proof that you are meant for impact, far greater than you can imagine. It is not pride to acknowledge it, it is obedience. For chosen ones are not called to hide the flame, but to let it set the world ablaze. Chosen one. You carry more than you realize. Even when you were young, others could sense something different about you. Some were drawn to it, others resented it. The light within you provoked both admiration and hostility. And though you may have tried to dim it, tried to silence it, tried to bury it, the truth is undeniable. You were born to shine in ways others cannot. Now, I ask you to do something simple but powerful. Type below in the comments, I am chosen. Yes. Just 3 words. But understand, these words are not empty. They are declarations. When you type them, you align yourself with what heaven has already said about you. You silence the voice of doubt. You confront the spirit of rejection. You break agreement with lies that told you that you were ordinary, that you were less, that you were unwanted. By writing these words, you release your identity from the grip of deception and affirm heaven's decree. Do not underestimate this act. Sometimes the most powerful breakthroughs come from the smallest steps of obedience. Typing, I am chosen, is not for me, it is for you. It is you agreeing with the eternal whisper that your difference was never a curse, it was always a crown. Chosen one. Stand tall in this truth. You are not forgotten, not misplaced, not rejected. You are heaven's idea, heaven's design, heaven's delight, and from the very beginning, your name was already echoing in heaven's secret council. Chosen one. The weight you carry is not ordinary. It presses against your chest at night. It sits on your shoulders during the day. And sometimes you wonder if it will ever lift. But understand this, the weight is not a curse. It is a crown in preparation. You were built with a capacity others do not have, which is why burdens fall on you that others cannot bear. You have endured storms that would have shattered another soul. You have walked through valleys where others would have lost their faith. And though you have stumbled, though you have felt weary, you are still standing. That is not weakness, it is proof of divine strength working within you. For when heaven marks someone as chosen, their very structure is designed to endure the weight of destiny. Think about it. Why have you been entrusted with trials so heavy, responsibilities so demanding, and challenges so relentless? It is because your spirit was designed to carry what ordinary spirits cannot. You may not feel strong, but heaven does not measure strength as the world does. Heaven looks at your perseverance, your faith, your resilience, and declares you worthy to carry more. The prophet Elijah spoke, as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 21. How long will you waver between 2 opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him, but if Baal is God, follow him. This verse is not just a challenge to choose. It is a revelation about the weight of being chosen. You cannot live divided. You cannot belong to 2 worlds. You cannot serve 2 masters. To be chosen means to feel the pull of separation, the call to decide, the urgency to walk in alignment. This is why the weight feels so pressing. It demands that you choose, that you stand, that you live fully in what you were created for. Chosen one. This burden has made you question yourself many times. You have asked, "Why me? Why must I carry this?" And heaven answers, because you were built for it. Like a vessel forged in fire, you were shaped to contain what others cannot. The very heaviness you feel is evidence of heaven's trust in you. Do you remember the seasons when responsibilities piled upon you unfairly, when others abandoned their posts, and you were left holding the weight? It was not because you were expendable, it was because you were dependable. Heaven trusted you to remain steady when others wavered, and though you felt the crushing pressure, you also discovered the hidden strength you did not know you had. Chosen one. Your tears were not wasted. Every time you wept under the pressure, heaven recorded it. Every night you lay awake, heavy with the load, heaven observed and strengthened you. And though no one else seemed to see, the angels were dispatched. The Spirit whispered comfort, and God Himself stood beside you. You were never carrying this alone. The weight of being chosen also explains the strange contradictions in your life. Others may celebrate while you are called into solitude. Others may indulge while you are asked to fast, to pray, to wait. Others may enjoy ease while you are stretched, disciplined, tested. These contradictions exist because your journey is not about comfort, it is about capacity. God is expanding you, stretching you, preparing you for assignments far greater than your current reality. At times, this preparation looks like breaking. The pruning feels merciless. The silence feels unbearable. The tests feel endless. But what you perceive as breaking is actually shaping, like clay in the potter's hands. Every press, every squeeze, every reshaping is forming you into a vessel that can hold glory without cracking. Chosen one, never despise the weight, for it is not a punishment, it is a prophecy. The heaviness you feel is the announcement of what is coming. Just as a woman in labor feels the weight before delivery, so you feel the heaviness before manifestation. What is pressing against you is not the end, it is the beginning. The burden is proof that birth is near. And hear this, you are not the first to carry such a weight. Every chosen one throughout history bore the same. Moses carried the weight of leading a people out of slavery. David carried the weight of kingship before he even sat on a throne. Esther carried the weight of her nation's survival upon her decision. Jesus himself carried the weight of the world's sin upon his shoulders. To be chosen has always meant to carry more than you thought you could. But the same God who entrusted you with the burden is the one who sustains you beneath it. The same Spirit who pressed destiny upon your shoulders is the Spirit who strengthens your spine to stand. You may feel overwhelmed, but you are not overthrown. You may feel pressed, but you are not crushed. You may feel heavy, but you are not hopeless. Chosen one. One day, you will look back and understand. The nights that seemed endless, the pressure that seemed unbearable, the tears that seemed unending, they were all shaping your spirit into steel. And though you cannot see the full picture now, you will one day realize that the weight you carried was the very thing that qualified you to carry glory. So endure a little longer, stand a little stronger, lean not on your own strength, but on the everlasting arms of the one who called you. For the weight you bear is holy, and it will not break you, it will build you. chosen one. There is a fire inside of you that you have not been able to explain. It flickers in moments of stillness, and it burns when you step into places that resist God's presence. This fire is your light, the divine spark within you that cannot be extinguished. It is not ordinary warmth, it is holy disruption. Your very presence unsettles darkness, and your very words carry weight beyond the natural. This is why you often feel resistance when you walk into a room. It is not about who you are in the flesh, but about what you carry in the spirit. Darkness trembles when light enters, and you carry the light of heaven. Hell has learned your name. Demons know your footsteps. And though you may not always recognize the magnitude of what rests upon you, the unseen world surely does. Have you noticed how conversations shift when you enter? How people become defensive, restless, or even inspired without knowing why? That is the disruption of divine light. Chosen ones do not need to announce themselves. Their very existence makes waves in the atmosphere. And though it can make you feel out of place, it is proof that you are living in alignment with the call placed upon you. The ancient words recorded in Romans chapter 8, verse 31 still echo today. If God is for us, who can be against us? Chosen one. Take this into your spirit. No force of darkness, no plot of the enemy, no rejection from man can erase what heaven has placed inside you. The light you carry is indestructible because it is sourced from the eternal flame of God Himself. That is why opposition comes, but it cannot overcome. That is why attacks rise, but they cannot prevail. Now hear this carefully. The light within you is not for you alone. It was entrusted to you so that you could impact those around you. You are a torchbearer, a carrier of divine presence in places where hope is scarce. This is why your journey has felt lonely at times, because not everyone can carry what you carry. But you were not called to walk for applause, you were called to walk for purpose. Chosen one. In this moment, I speak to you directly, not as a stranger, but as someone who recognizes the same fire. If this word is reaching deep into you, then I know you are one of heaven's marked ones. And if you feel that confirmation, then I ask you to do something simple yet powerful. Share this word. Why? Because light is not meant to be hidden. When you share, you are not just spreading content, you are spreading confirmation, hope, and awakening for someone else who is still struggling in the shadows of doubt. You may not know whose life you touch, but heaven does. Your obedience could be the key that unlocks another chosen one's awakening. And while you are here, let me speak with sincerity. Take a moment to like this message, to subscribe, not as an act of routine, but as a declaration that you are aligning with the voice of heaven. Every click, every share, every subscription is more than an action. It is a seed planted into the soil of this movement, watering the call to gather chosen ones across the earth. Think of it this way: the same way the enemy uses media to spread deception, heaven is using platforms like this to spread light. By engaging, you become a participant in heaven's broadcast, echoing the whisper of God's counsel into countless homes, phones, and hearts. You are not simply a receiver, you are a carrier. Chosen one. You may not realize it, but your obedience in such small acts carries ripple effects beyond imagination. A like may encourage this word to reach someone in despair. A share may place it in front of someone contemplating giving up. A subscription may keep you tethered to a flow of messages designed to keep your spirit burning. What seems ordinary is actually extraordinary when placed in heaven's hands. Now, lean in. This disruption you bring to darkness is not random. It is strategic. God has positioned you in environments that require your fire. Where others see confusion, you bring clarity. Where others drown in despair, you bring peace. Where others stumble in compromise, you bring conviction. You do not realize how many times your quiet faithfulness has altered the atmosphere, but you must also understand, the more you shine, the more opposition will rise. Light always exposes, and exposure brings resistance. Do not be surprised when people distance themselves, when you are misunderstood, when you are slandered. It is not about you, it is about what you carry. Darkness is uncomfortable in the presence of light, but it cannot extinguish it. Chosen one, this is why you must continue. Do not hide. Do not shrink. Do not dim yourself for the comfort of others. The call on your life is not negotiable. You are light in a time of deep shadows, and this generation needs you fully awake, fully alive, fully burning. And so, I remind you again, stand tall. The disruptions you cause are not accidents, they are assignments. The light you carry is not fragile, it is eternal. And though the weight feels heavy, remember, you are never carrying it alone. Heaven's fire is upon you, and nothing can put it out. So, chosen one, as you carry this word in your heart, do not keep it locked within you. Share it, spread it. Let others see what heaven has confirmed in you. Because when chosen ones rise together, darkness has no refuge left to hide in. Chosen one, pause and think, how many times in your life has something happened that seemed like failure, only for you to later realize it was protection? You planned for one outcome, but the door slammed shut. You thought you lost something valuable, but later you understood it would have broken you. This is not coincidence, it is divine intervention. You are not wandering blindly. You are walking a path written in heaven long before you were born. You must understand this truth. Delays are not denials. Every time the road seemed to stop, it was not because God abandoned you, but because He was protecting you from what you could not yet see. Heaven has the vantage point, you do not. What felt like rejection was preservation. What felt like punishment was preparation. For chosen ones, every closed door is part of the choreography of destiny. There have been times you prayed with all your strength, believing for an opportunity to work, only to watch it collapse before your eyes. You wondered, why didn't God answer? But, beloved, the truth is God did answer. He answered with a greater no to what you thought you wanted, so He could give you what you truly needed. Heaven's no is not cruelty, it is mercy in disguise. Think back to the relationships you lost, the jobs that slipped through your fingers, the paths you could not walk. At the time, it felt like loss. Yet now, if you are honest, you can see how much pain was spared, how much damage was avoided. Heaven has been editing your story from the beginning, cutting scenes that would have stolen your joy, erasing chapters that would have destroyed your spirit. This is divine authorship, and you are the manuscript of His glory. We are reminded, through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 37, verse 23, the Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in Him. Chosen one, Your steps are firm, even when they feel fragile. Your journey is secure, even when it feels uncertain. Every delay, every redirection, every unexpected shift is the Father's hand holding your path steady. You may not feel steady, but you are being carried. You may not see the plan, but you are in the plan. The fact that you are still standing, still breathing, still listening is proof that God has not abandoned you. Sometimes you feel trapped between frustration and faith. You wonder if you missed it, if you went wrong somewhere, if your mistakes disqualified you. But listen, your missteps cannot erase your calling. The detours you take are not strong enough to override God's purpose. Even when you wander, His hand redirects. Even when you stumble, His grace restores. Even when you rebel, His love pursues. Chosen ones cannot be abandoned because heaven has invested too much in them. Chosen one, do not despise the detours. Every detour has been a classroom. Every delay has been a teacher. Every disappointment has been a refiner's fire. You have been learning patience, obedience, and trust in ways that no ordinary life could teach you. These lessons were not wasted. They were shaping you into someone who can carry weight far greater than you. Now understand. But here is the tension. Divine intervention rarely feels comfortable. It often feels like loss, silence, or even betrayal. You cry. You question. You wonder why God didn't let you have what you wanted. Yet, over and over again, you will see that His redirection saved you. It is only with hindsight that chosen ones understand the mercy of unanswered prayers. Consider this. Had every prayer been answered in your timing, you would not be where you are now. The very seasons you cursed as wasted are the seasons that gave you wisdom. The very people you lost were the very ones who could not go where you are headed. The very pain you endured is the reason you carry authority in your voice today. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was meaningless. Heaven was sculpting you. Beloved, take courage. The divine interruptions in your life are proof that you are not forgotten. If you were ordinary, heaven would let you wander. If you were common, heaven would not intervene. But because you are chosen, you cannot go too far astray. Because you are chosen, heaven will wrestle you back onto the narrow road. That wrestling hurts, but it is love. That interruption frustrates you, but it is grace. Chosen one. Right now, I invite you to make a prophetic declaration. In the comments, type this number, 555. Why 555? Because it symbolizes grace multiplied and transition perfected. It is heaven's reminder that the detours of your past are leading into divine alignment for your future. When you type 555, you are not typing random digits. You are declaring that you trust the path, that you surrender the need for control, that you accept divine intervention as your guide. Do not underestimate this act. It is not for me, it is for you. By writing those numbers, you seal your agreement with heaven's hand on your journey. You silence the fear that whispers you are lost. You confront the lie that says you are behind. You proclaim, my steps are ordered, my delays are divine, my destiny is secure. Oh, let this number be your reminder in the days to come. When you feel frustrated by another closed door, remember 555 grace. Transition. Alignment. When you feel weary from waiting, remember 555. Heaven is still guiding. When you feel tempted to give up, remember 555, your story is not finished. It is unfolding exactly as heaven designed. Chosen one. The truth is this: you are not late. You are not lost. You are not forgotten. You are divinely guided, intentionally redirected, and strategically positioned. Trust the interruptions. Trust the detours. Trust the hand that closes doors you beg to walk through. For the one who whispered your name in the secret council of heaven will never abandon the path he has written for you. Chosen one. If you only knew the scale of the battles fought over your life, you would weep not in despair, but in awe. For you have been protected in ways you could never comprehend. While you slept, angels stood guard. While you walked unaware through dangerous paths, unseen hands guided your steps. While the enemy plotted against you, heaven intervened silently but powerfully. You thought you were alone. You thought no one noticed your struggle. No one cared about your pain. But the unseen realm was alive with warfare over your destiny. Every arrow meant to pierce you was intercepted. Every trap laid for your fall was dismantled. Every scheme whispered in darkness was exposed before it could touch you. You are still here, not because the battle was small, but because the victory was secured on your behalf. Chosen one. It is written in the book of Daniel how angelic messengers warred against principalities to bring an answer to prayer. That was not a one-time event. It is a pattern. Heaven's armies contend for chosen ones, because your life carries too much weight to be left vulnerable. Do not mistake your survival as coincidence. Your survival is testimony. Think of the nights you almost gave up, the accidents you narrowly escaped, the sicknesses that could have taken your life. Each of those moments carried a battle unseen. You may have cried out, "God, where are you?" And though you did not hear an answer in the moment, now you can see He was there all along, fighting through the silence. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Let these words take root in your soul. You are not fighting alone. The heaviness you feel in certain seasons is not just your personal struggle, it is the collision of kingdoms. The darkness recognizes your light and wages war against it. But the Almighty has declared your protection. Heaven itself rises to defend you. Chosen one. This explains why your battles have often felt disproportionate. While others seem to walk freely, you have been resisted. While others move easily, you are delayed. While others sleep soundly, you wrestle with unseen weight. This is not evidence of weakness, it is evidence of worth. The enemy does not pursue those who pose no threat. The warfare you endure is the clearest sign of the impact you are destined to make. Every sleepless night, every attack on your mind, every battle for your peace, it all points to one truth. You are carrying something powerful. The adversary knows if you rise fully, nations will feel the ripple. If you walk boldly, chains will break. If you live awake, darkness will lose ground. That is why the opposition has been so relentless. But remember this: chosen ones are never left unguarded. The hand of God does not merely rest on you, it surrounds you. His angels encamp around you. His Spirit strengthens you when you are too weary to stand. His presence is a shield, even when you feel defenseless. Think back on the moments of inexplicable peace in the midst of chaos. That was not random. It was the Spirit covering you. Think about the sudden redirections that spared you from harm. That was not coincidence, it was heaven's strategy. Think of the strength you found when you thought you had none left. That was not your own, it was divine infusion. Chosen one. Understand this clearly. Unseen battles are proof of unseen victories. For every attack you endured, there were 10 more intercepted before they reached you. For every storm that shook you, there were countless storms stilled before you ever faced them. You are living under constant protection, and though you cannot always perceive it, you are surrounded. This is why gratitude must rise from your heart, even in seasons of struggle, because what you see is only a fragment of the warfare happening around you. Gratitude acknowledges that you are covered. Gratitude keeps your eyes on the deliverer, not the danger. Gratitude strengthens your spirit to keep standing. Chosen one. You were not preserved simply for survival. You were preserved for purpose. Every intervention was strategic, keeping you alive for the assignments waiting ahead. You were spared not just because God loves you, but because you have work yet to complete. The enemy would have preferred you silenced, buried, forgotten, but heaven would not allow it. So walk with confidence, not arrogance. You are not untouchable because of your own power. You are untouchable because heaven has decreed it. So, and though the enemy may roar, his roar is hollow when confronted with divine authority. Though weapons may form, they cannot prosper. Though storms may rise, they cannot sweep you away. Chosen one. Let this truth free you from fear. You need not live constantly bracing for disaster. Yes, battles will come. Yes, darkness will rage. But the Lord Himself has committed to fight for you. You were never expected to endure this journey alone. The weight you carry is matched by the strength provided. This should stir a holy boldness within you. No longer should you cower, questioning your worth. No longer should you wonder if you will make it through. You are shielded, defended, and preserved by the King of Heaven Himself. If He has invested so much to protect you, then surely He has also empowered you to finish the mission for which you were chosen. Beloved, the unseen battles that surround you are not signs of abandonment. They are evidence of your importance. Heaven does not waste resources. If angels are fighting for you, it is because your destiny matters on an eternal scale. Every battle won in secret ensures that you will stand in public victory. Lift your head. Chosen one. You are not fragile. You are fortified. You are not forsaken. You are fiercely defended. And though the war rages, your victory is secure. Chosen one. Rejection has followed you like a shadow, hasn't it? People you thought would stand beside you turned away. Voices you longed to hear affirm you instead criticized or mocked. Hands you reached for pulled back. And at times, this rejection cut deeper than any visible wound. Yet here is the truth. Being misunderstood is not evidence that you are forsaken. It is evidence that you are set apart. When heaven marks someone, the world rarely understands it. Those around you often cannot recognize the weight you carry, because they are looking with natural eyes at something that is spiritual. What they dismiss as strangeness is actually your divine distinction. What they call weakness is your spiritual sensitivity. What they perceive as distance is heaven pulling you aside. Think of Joseph, the dreamer. His brothers hated him because of his vision. His father favored him, and strangers sold him into slavery. To human eyes, Joseph's life looked like a series of rejections, but in heaven's eyes, each rejection was a redirection. He was never abandoned, he was positioned. The very pit his brothers threw him into became the pathway to the palace. Chosen one, you too have been thrown into pits by people who should have lifted you up. You too have been betrayed by voices that promised loyalty. You too have been overlooked while others were celebrated. And though your heart broke under the weight of these wounds, your spirit was not destroyed, because the same God who lifted Joseph will lift you. The same God who never abandoned him has never abandoned you. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 27, verse 10. Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. Let that verse breathe life into your soul, even if those closest to you do not see your worth. Heaven does. Even if the people who should have nurtured you instead wounded you, the Lord himself gathers you close. Rejection from man cannot cancel acceptance from God. Chosen one. Take courage. Your rejection has always been redirection. Think of the relationships that ended abruptly, the friendships that crumbled, the opportunities that vanished. You mourned them. You begged for them to stay. But heaven allowed them to fall away. Why? Because you were never meant to stay where they were going. You were destined for higher ground, and they could not walk that road with you. This is not cruelty, it is protection. God removes what cannot go with you. If he allowed everyone you wanted in your life to remain, you would be entangled in weights that would drag you down. Chosen ones cannot be bound to every voice, every circle, every comfort. They must travel light, carrying only what heaven permits. Misunderstanding has also shaped you. People saw your silence and thought it was weakness, but it was training in patience. They saw your tears and thought it was fragility, but it was sensitivity to the Spirit. They saw your solitude and thought it was loneliness, but it was preparation for intimacy with God. Everything they misread was part of heaven's plan to refine you. Chosen one, you must learn to wear misunderstanding as a cloak of honor. To be chosen is to be set apart, and to be set apart is to be misunderstood. Even Jesus was rejected by his own hometown, despised by those he came to save, mocked by those he healed. Yet none of their rejection changed his identity. Neither will it change yours. Consider this: if everyone had embraced you, would you have leaned so deeply into God? If every door had opened, would you have sought his direction with such intensity? If every person had celebrated you, would you have discovered the depths of his acceptance? Rejection stripped away, false supports, so that you would cling only to him. And through all of this, notice how you endured. Yes, your heart broke, but it healed stronger. Yes, your tears fell, but they watered seeds of resilience. Yes, you were left alone, but solitude birthed revelation. Every misunderstanding that hurt you also shaped you into the warrior you are becoming. Chosen one, I remind you, you are never truly forsaken. Though friends betray, though family misunderstands, though strangers mock, the Lord himself remains constant. His presence has never left you. His Spirit has never abandoned you. His hand has always been upon you, guiding you even when you felt most lost. And this, too, is important. Rejection is often a sign of revelation. People resist what they cannot categorize. Your light exposed darkness. and not everyone welcomes exposure. Your vision unsettles those content with blindness. Your obedience convicts those bound in rebellion. That is why you are rejected. It is not about you personally. It is about what you carry. Chosen one. You are not forgotten, not discarded, not abandoned. You are preserved. Heaven has been pruning your relationships, refining your circles, and aligning your steps. The pain of being misunderstood is temporary, but the fruit of divine acceptance is eternal. One day, those who mocked will marvel. Those who left will watch as you rise. Those who doubted will witness undeniable evidence of God's hand upon you. Until then, wear your rejection as a badge of honor. It proves that you are not walking the common path. It proves that you are not settling for ordinary. It proves that you are chosen. So lift your head, wipe your tears, and walk forward. You are not forsaken, you are being formed. You are not discarded, you are being refined. And though people may turn away, heaven has turned toward you with unwavering love. Chosen one. Hear this clearly. The fire you feel inside is not imagination, it is preparation. For you are not being crushed. You are being refined. The trials you face, the misunderstandings you endure, the silence that tests your soul, all of these are not wasted experiences. They are the furnace shaping you into a vessel worthy of a crown. Every chosen one must pass through fire. Crowns are not given to the untested. Glory is not entrusted to the unrefined. This is why your life has not been easy. Why your journey has been marked with valleys as well as peaks. God is not punishing you, He is purifying you. Every tear is a cleansing. Every loss is a pruning. Every battle is a forging. You may look at others who seem to succeed easily, who seem to rise without struggle, and you wonder, why not me? But listen carefully. Your story is not their story. You are not being prepared for temporary applause. You are being prepared for eternal authority. Their crowns may glitter, but they will fade. Yours is eternal. And for that, you must be refined. Scripture says in the Gospel of James, chapter 1, verse 12, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial. Having stood the test, they will receive the crown of life. The Lord has promised to those who love Him." Chosen one. Let this truth burn in your spirit. The crown of life is promised to those who endure, not those who run from trials, not those who collapse in the fire, but those who persevere. Endurance is not glamorous, but it is glorious. The crown awaiting you is not plastic, it is forged from your perseverance, your faith, your resilience. Think of gold before it shines. It is raw, rough, and unimpressive. Only after enduring the fire does its brilliance emerge. You too are being refined. Every time you endured instead of quitting, you became purer. Every time you chose faith instead of fear, you became stronger. Every time you kept walking when you wanted to stop, your crown became clearer. But here is the challenge. Refining is painful. The fire burns away what you thought you needed. It removes relationships that seemed essential, habits you clung to, dreams you once idolized. You cry as these things fall away, not realizing that they were impurities being melted out of your spirit. Heaven is not trying to take from you. Heaven is trying to reveal you. Chosen one. You are closer to your crown than you realize. The heaviness you feel right now is proof of how near you are. For the enemy fights hardest when breakthrough is closest. He knows that if you endure a little longer, you will step into a season of authority that cannot be taken away. That is why the attacks have intensified, why the silence feels deafening, why the loneliness feels unbearable. It is not because you are forgotten, it is because you are almost revealed. Let me tell you this, the refining is worth it. On the other side of the fire, you will shine with a brilliance you never imagined. People who once mocked you will marvel at what God has done. Those who abandoned you will witness your rising. The very scars you carry will become testimonies of endurance, proof that God does not waste pain. Chosen one. Right now, I want you to make a declaration. Write in the comments, I choose my crown. Then, yes, only 4 words. But those words are not small, they are powerful. When you type them, you are declaring that you will not quit. You are declaring that the fire will not consume you. It will refine you. You are declaring that you accept the weight of endurance in exchange for the glory of your crown. Do not think this is symbolic, only it is a prophetic act. By writing it, you align your spirit with heaven's refining process. You silence the lies of the enemy that say you cannot make it. You declare to yourself, to the unseen world, and to heaven itself, I choose my crown. Chosen one. Imagine this moment in eternity, when the refining is over, when the battle is finished, when your tears have been wiped away, you will stand before the throne, and the Lord himself will place a crown upon your head. That crown will not be the result of comfort, it will be the result of perseverance. It will shine with the light of every trial you overcame, every valley you walked through, every season you refused to give up. The refining process is not meant to break you, but to build you. Fire does not destroy gold. It reveals it. Pressure does not crush diamonds, it forms them. And trials do not destroy chosen ones, they awaken them. You are not weaker because of what you endured. You are stronger, purer, more radiant. Do not despise this season. Do not curse the fire. Do not resent the pruning. Instead, lift your head and declare, I am being prepared. For the trials you endure today are the foundation of the glory you will carry tomorrow. Chosen one. Your crown is nearer than you think. Keep walking. Keep standing. Keep enduring. For the promise of God is sure. Those who persevere will receive the crown of life. And you, yes, you are one of them. Chosen one. Right now, heaven presses pause on everything around you. Your scrolling stopped here for a reason. This is not an accident. It is a divine appointment. While the world rushes forward with noise and distraction, heaven leans in close to whisper to you, listen, this moment is sacred. Because you are hearing words meant to ignite your spirit and realign your path. So often, you live in the constant hum of demands, voies, and obligations. Everyone wants something from you, your time, your attention, your energy. But heaven is not another voice competing with the noise. Heaven is the stillness that silences the noise. And when God chooses to pause your world, it is because he has something urgent to deposit into your soul. Right now, that deposit is this: you are chosen, and your name still echoes in the chambers of eternity. You cannot afford to dismiss this moment as ordinary. The very fact that you are here means angels have cleared distractions, orchestrated timing, and positioned your heart to receive. Chosen one. You may wonder why these words feel so alive, why they pierce you deeper than casual encouragement. It is because they carry the weight of destiny. They are not simply information, they are revelation. They awaken you to truths you have always sensed, but never fully embraced. You know you are different. You know you were born for more, and heaven confirms it now. The ancient words of Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 11, declare, "My word that goes out from my mouth will not return to me empty. It will accomplish my desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." Chosen one. This word is accomplishing something in you right now. It is not empty encouragement, it is living fire. It is dismantling lies that told you you were unworthy. It is silencing doubts that whispered you were forgotten. It is rebuilding confidence where rejection tried to destroy you. It is stirring boldness where fear once paralyzed you. This is the effect of a divine pause. Let yourself breathe in this moment. Can you sense the shift? It is not just you reading words on a screen. It is heaven breathing into you, strengthening you for the days ahead. The Spirit is reminding you that you are not running this race alone. The angels assigned to you are real. The hand that holds you is strong. The purpose marked upon you is unshakable. And yet, heaven does not speak simply to comfort you. Heaven speaks to commission you. When God interrupts your life with His whisper, it is not only to remind you of your worth, but to call you into action. This is why distractions had to be silenced. This is why you had to stop here. This is why you feel this fire. You are being called to rise, to awaken, to step boldly into the destiny you have delayed for too long. Beloved, there is no more time for hesitation. The hour is urgent. The world is drowning in confusion, and chosen ones must step forward with clarity. Darkness spreads quickly, but light spreads faster when it refuses to hide. And you are one of those torches. Heaven is lifting high. That is why this moment is weighty. It is not just about encouragement, it is about activation. Now, I will speak plainly. When heaven pauses you like this, your response matters. Words received but ignored will not take root, but words received with faith and acted upon become life-changing. That is why I invite you, sincerely and without manipulation, to take a step. Share this word, not for vanity, but because someone else is scrolling right now, waiting for confirmation that their life matters. You could be the one to place it in front of them, like this message, not as a routine click, but as a prophetic act, a way of saying, I agree, I align, I affirm this truth. Subscribing is not about following a channel. It is about tethering yourself to a consistent flow of reminders that you are chosen, called, and anointed. Do you realize how powerful such small acts can be? The enemy uses simple seeds of lies, whispered repeatedly, to destroy the destinies. But heaven also uses small acts of obedience, liking, sharing, subscribing, to multiply truth across the earth. When you take part in this, you are not just a listener, you are a participant in the spread of light. And hear this, chosen ones are not passive. They respond. They recognize when heaven speaks, and they act upon it. You feel this weight because it is your confirmation. You know deep inside this is not just another message. So, let your response be genuine. Spread it. Affirm it. Commit to walk with it. Chosen one. You cannot underestimate the importance of this pause. Life will try to drag you back into noise. But the imprint of this moment remains. It marks you. It seals something inside of you. It is the line between what was and what will be. Lift your head. Straighten your shoulders. Let courage rise. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are not abandoned. You are heaven's design, God's idea, eternity's investment. The world may rush past without noticing, but heaven pauses the flow of everything to whisper your name once more. Chosen one. This is your confirmation. You are chosen. You are sealed. And you are needed. Do not let this word fade into the background. Embrace it. Share it. Carry it. Let the world know that heaven still speaks. And you are one of the living witnesses. Chosen one. There is a reason your battles have not only been personal, but generational. You are not merely living for yourself. You are carrying assignments tied to your bloodline. The struggles you have faced are not accidents. They are patterns. Cycles passed down from those who came before you. And heaven has marked you as the one who will break them. Look closely at your story. Have you noticed the repeated battles? Poverty, fear, rejection, addiction, broken relationships, patterns that seem to resurface from one generation to another. You may have thought it was coincidence, but in truth, these are spiritual chains, old agreements formed in silence that have haunted your family line. But here is the revelation. You are the interruption. You are the one chosen to stop the repetition. Chosen one. Heaven trusted you with the weight of this assignment because your spirit was strong enough to endure what others could not. You have carried wounds that did not start with you. You have battled struggles that were never entirely yours. Yet through it all, you have been given the authority to break what has enslaved those before you. That is why your life has felt so heavy. It carries generational significance. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 9. Know therefore that the Lord your God is God. He is the faithful God, keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love him and keep his commandments. Let these words sink deep. God's faithfulness is generational. Just as curses can travel through bloodlines, so can blessings. Just as darkness seeks to repeat itself, so does light seek to multiply. You are standing in the middle of this great exchange between the weight of what was and the promise of what will be. And because you are chosen, your obedience has the power to rewrite stories for generations to come. Think of it. What you overcome does not end with you. Your victory becomes inheritance. Your deliverance becomes a doorway. Your obedience plants seeds that will blossom in your children, your grandchildren, your lineage yet unborn. Chosen ones are not merely survivors, they are generational architects. They lay foundations that others will build upon. This is why your warfare has been so intense. The enemy knew that if you ever woke up to who you are, entire generations would shift. That is why the attacks began early, why the pressure felt unbearable, why the opposition seemed endless. Hell was not just fighting you, it was fighting the generations you represent. But you must see this clearly, you are not losing. Every time you resisted temptation, you cracked a chain. Every time you prayed instead of quitting, you weakened a curse. Every time you forgave instead of harboring bitterness, you shifted the atmosphere of your bloodline. Your choices are not isolated, they are reverberating through time. Chosen one. Do not underestimate the quiet victories, the nights you whispered prayers through tears, the moments you walked away from destructive paths, the decisions you made to remain faithful. They may seem small, but in the Spirit, they are monumental. Heaven celebrates them, because each one is a strike against the cycle trying to continue through you. Your obedience matters more than you realize. This is not just about your comfort, it is about your covenant. God entrusted you with this role because He knew you would endure. He knew you would not give in to despair. He knew you would rise, even after being pushed down. Heaven has confidence in you, and that is why you are still here. Remember Abraham, whose obedience opened a covenant for countless descendants. Remember Ruth, whose faithfulness positioned her in the lineage of kings. Remember Mary, whose surrender carried the Messiah into the world. Each of them was chosen not only for themselves, but for generations. And so are you, chosen one. You are rewriting history. Where there was despair, you are planting hope. Where there was fear, you are establishing courage. Where there was failure, you are building faithfulness. The patterns that bound your ancestors will not bind those who come after you. For the Lord your God has declared you a breaker of chains, a builder of altars, a carrier of covenant. This will not be easy. The weight of generational assignments demands sacrifice. You will feel the tension of battles that others ignored. You will carry the loneliness of walking roads others avoided. You will bear the misunderstanding of those who cannot see the bigger picture. But in the end, the fruit will outweigh the pain. And one day, you will look into the eyes of the next generation and know it was worth it. You will see joy where there was sorrow, freedom where there was bondage, light where there was darkness. And you will know that your endurance shifted everything. Chosen one. The truth is this: you were chosen not only to live differently, but to leave differently. Your life will be remembered not for what you endured, but for what you ended. The chains stop here. The curses stop here. The cycles stop here. Lift your head. Even in the heaviness, stand firm. Even in the battle. For your obedience today is building a legacy of freedom tomorrow. You are not just carrying your own destiny, you are carrying the destiny of generations. And heaven has whispered your name for this very purpose. Chosen one. Have you noticed how your life often feels like a wilderness? You walk paths few understand, hearing whispers of a destiny you cannot fully explain. You do not echo the noise of the crowd because your voice was designed to be different. You are not meant to blend into the chorus of the majority. You are a trumpet in the wilderness, preparing the way for what is to come. This is why solitude has marked your journey. While others flourish in crowds, you often feel more at home in silence. While others seek affirmation, you are drawn into seasons where heaven alone is your companion. It has been painful at times. You longed to be understood, to be included, to be celebrated, but instead, you were hidden, separated, misunderstood. Do not despise this. Wilderness seasons are not punishment, they are preparation. The Spirit has always trained His chosen ones in solitude. Moses spent 40 years in the desert before he confronted Pharaoh. Elijah lived by a brook, fed by ravens, before he called fire down from heaven. John the Baptist lived in the wilderness until the day of his revealing. Even Jesus withdrew into desolate places to pray before stepping into the fullness of his assignment. Wilderness is not the absence of purpose, it is the furnace of preparation. Chosen one. The wilderness exposes your deepest fears and confronts your hidden doubts. It is the place where the illusions of strength collapse so that true reliance on God can be built. You discover that human applause cannot sustain you and that earthly comfort cannot fill you. In that emptiness, heaven plants courage. You come to realize that the wilderness is not abandonment. It is the proving ground where your faith is sharpened like a blade. In the wilderness, your ears become tuned to frequencies others cannot hear. While the crowd hears noise, you hear whispers. While the world chases trends, you sense eternal rhythms. This sensitivity was not born in luxury, but in silence, where your tears became prayers and your questions became revelations. The hidden shaping in solitude becomes the unseen foundation for the authority you will walk in later. You are being trained to hear clearly. Chosen one. Never forget that the wilderness is temporary but transformational. It is a passage, not a prison. Many despise it and try to escape too quickly. But you have been chosen to endure, so you may emerge with unshakable strength. The barren place will one day testify of your resilience, and those who once misunderstood your silence will marvel at the authority you carry. Endure the wilderness with faith, for its end always ushers in revealing glory. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 3, verse 3, a voice of one calling in the wilderness, "Prepare the way for the Lord. Make straight paths for him." End of quote. Chosen one. That verse is not only history, it is prophecy over you. Your wilderness is not meaningless. It is a place of shaping your voice, refining your courage, clarifying your mission. While others may be loud in crowds, your authority is forged in silence. And when you speak, it will not be mere noise, it will be fire that shifts atmospheres. This explains why your voice has never seemed to fit. In conversations, you feel the urge to speak differently, to cut against the grain, to declare truth even when it is unpopular. And when you hold back, your spirit feels restless, burning, unsettled. This is not a flaw, it is a sign. You were called to be a herald, not an echo. The wilderness strips you of dependence on people. It removes false props, false comforts, false securities. It leaves you face to face with God, raw and unguarded. And though it feels lonely, it is here that intimacy is born. In the wilderness, you learn the sound of heaven's whisper. In the wilderness, you learn to walk by faith, not by sight. In the wilderness, you discover that God alone is enough. Chosen one, embrace this season. Do not rush it. Do not resent it. For when the day of your revealing comes, you will carry an authority others cannot imitate. You will not simply speak opinions. You will release truth that breaks chains. You will not simply blend in. You will stand out as a forerunner. But here is the tension. Wilderness often feels endless. You cry out, asking when it will end, when the revealing will come, when the promise will manifest. And though heaven does not always give dates, it gives assurance. You will not remain hidden forever. The voice being trained in you will not remain silent. Your wilderness will become the platform for your testimony. Think of this carefully. The wilderness is where chosen ones are discovered by God before they are recognized by man. It is where strength is forged in silence, so it can be displayed in the open. It is where obedience is tested, where humility is built, where resilience is planted. You are not being delayed, you are being prepared. Chosen one. I ask you now to declare your agreement with this truth. In the comments below, type this prophetic number 888. Why 888? Because it is the number of new beginnings, a divine sign that what has felt like endless wilderness will soon shift into revelation and manifestation. By writing 888, you are declaring, I embrace my preparation. I welcome my revealing. I step into my new beginning. Do not dismiss this act as simple typing. Every prophetic declaration creates alignment. By agreeing with heaven's timing, you release your spirit from frustration and position yourself to receive. You are saying, I trust the wilderness. I accept the preparation. I am ready for what comes next. Chosen one. The wilderness is never wasted. Every tear you cried alone became oil for your anointing. Every question you whispered in silence became dialogue with God. Every ache of isolation became strength you will one day pour into others. And when you stand revealed, people will marvel not because you echo the crowd, but because you speak with the authority of one who has been hidden with God. Lift your head in this wilderness season. Do not despise it, for heaven is shaping you into a voice that will not be ignored. You are chosen to prepare the way, to declare truth with boldness, to awaken hearts that have fallen asleep. And when the moment comes, your voice will not tremble, for it will carry the weight of all that the wilderness built within you. Chosen one. There is something burning inside you that you cannot explain. It feels like fire in your bones, a weight in your chest, a stirring that refuses to leave you alone. At times, you have mistaken it for restlessness. At other times, you thought it was frustration. But hear this clearly. It is neither frustration nor restlessness. It is divine ignition. It is the evidence that heaven has placed something inside you that refuses to be silenced. This fire is not ordinary passion. Passion can fade. Emotions can change. But this fire is holy. It is the spark of eternity breathing within your spirit, refusing to let you settle for mediocrity. That is why you cannot remain comfortable in places that feel safe for others. That is why silence feels suffocating when you are called to speak. That is why complacency makes you miserable. You were not built to live ordinary. Chosen one. This fire is not an accident. It was placed within you before your first breath. It is the Spirit of God reminding you that you are chosen, that you are marked, that you are called to carry His glory into places that are dark, dry, and desperate. And though you may not always understand it, though you may even resist it at times, it will not leave you. The fire is proof of your assignment. The Word of God declares in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 20, verse 9, "But if I say, I will not mention His word or speak any more in His name, His word is in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones. I am weary of holding it in. Indeed, I cannot." Chosen one. This verse is your mirror. You know the feeling of trying to hold back, of trying to suppress the call, of trying to silence the burning. And yet, no matter how much you attempt to hide it, the fire will not be extinguished. You may succeed in burying it for a season, but sooner or later, it erupts. It breaks through in your conversations, in your prayers, in your dreams, even in your silence. Do you see what this means? You were not designed to live without expression. The fire is your voice, your gift, your calling, demanding to be released. And when you resist it, you feel weary. That weariness is not from failure, it is from resisting what heaven placed within you. The fire is not your enemy, it is your evidence. It proves you belong to heaven's chosen. Consider how many times you tried to walk away. You wanted to blend in, to be normal, to forget the weight of being chosen. Yet every attempt to silence the fire left you more miserable. Why? Because you cannot escape what you were born for. The anointing on your life is not optional, it is eternal. Heaven's mark on you is irreversible. Chosen one. Understand this, the fire within you is both gift and burden. It calls you into deeper intimacy with God. Yet it also separates you from those who do not understand. It gives you authority, yet it demands obedience. It makes you powerful, yet it keeps you dependent on God. This tension is not punishment, it is design. You are being shaped into someone who can carry fire without being consumed by it. This fire also explains the intensity of your warfare. Darkness is not threatened by lukewarm souls, but the fire within you threatens systems, breaks chains, and exposes lies. The enemy knows that if your fire is unleashed, others will awaken. That is why he has tried so hard to discourage you, to silence you, to bury you in doubt and despair. But the truth remains, no attack can quench a fire ignited by God. Chosen one. You must stop seeing your burning as weakness. Stop apologizing for your intensity. Stop minimizing your hunger. The fire inside you is heaven's strategy to transform the places you enter. Your prayers are fire. Your words are fire. Your very presence is fire. And fire does not apologize for burning, it simply consumes. Think of those in Scripture who carried this burning. Jeremiah, whose words could not be silenced. Paul, who endured beatings and prisons because he could not stop preaching. Peter, who denied Jesus in fear, only to be ignited by the Spirit and stand boldly before crowds. Each of them knew the same truth you are discovering. When God ignites you, nothing can put out the flame. This burning is also your compass. It will not let you stay where you do not belong. It will not let you settle for jobs, relationships, or environments that suffocate your spirit. It pushes you out of places that are beneath your calling and pulls you into places aligned with your destiny. The fire inside you is the voice of God saying, "Rise higher, go deeper, do not settle." No, chosen one. When you finally embrace this fire, instead of resisting it, everything changes. Your clarity sharpens, your boldness grows, your words carry weight, your prayers shift atmospheres, your obedience becomes unstoppable. This is the life you were designed for, not comfort, not mediocrity, but burning with holy fire that lights the path for others. Do not be afraid of the intensity you carry. Fire is not meant to be contained, it is meant to spread. And your life will be a testimony of how one burning heart can ignite nations, generations, and atmospheres. You may feel small now, but a single flame can set entire forests ablaze. Never underestimate what heaven can do through the fire inside you. Chosen one. Hear me. You are not strange for feeling this way. You are not broken. You are not unstable. You are ignited, and the world is waiting for the release of your fire. Do not hold it back any longer. Let it burn. Let it consume the lies, the fear, the complacency. Let it illuminate the darkness. For you were chosen not only to carry fire, but to be fire. Chosen one. You have lived much of your life in hiddenness, while others were seen, celebrated, and elevated. You were tucked away in silence. It has often felt unfair, as though you were invisible, as though your gifts were wasted, as though your existence was overlooked. Yet, you must know this truth. Hiddenness is not punishment, it is training. Heaven hides what it values until the time of unveiling arrives. Think of a seed. It is buried in the darkness of the soil, unseen, unnoticed, covered to the untrained eye. It looks like nothing is happening, but in reality, everything is happening. In the silence, roots are growing. In the darkness, life is forming. In the hidden place, destiny is preparing to break forth. This has been your story. The years of silence, the seasons of obscurity, the times when no one applauded you. All of it was God's soil, shaping you for revelation. Hiddenness builds character. Public exposure without private preparation destroys chosen ones. If you had been revealed too soon, the weight of visibility could have crushed you. But heaven, in mercy, hid you. Every delay was protection. Every silence was strengthening. Every unnoticed season was God deepening your roots, so that when you are unveiled, you will not collapse under the pressure of your assignment. Chosen one. Hiddenness teaches you dependence. When applause is absent and recognition withheld, you learn to lean fully on the one who called you. In that quiet, you discover the joy of hearing heaven's whisper above the world's noise. You are trained to walk by faith, not sight, by conviction, not compliment. This dependence will anchor you when visibility comes, keeping you rooted in God, not swayed by man. Hiddenness also refines your motives. Without an audience, you learn obedience for its own sake, not for reward. You discover whether your service flows from love or from desire for validation. God allows these seasons so that when the spotlight arrives, your heart is pure. You will not perform for approval, but minister from authenticity. What feels like silence now is purification, ensuring your unveiling will bring glory to God alone. The prophet Isaiah recorded this mystery in his writings. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 2. He made my mouth like a sharpened sword. In the shadow of his hand, he hid me. He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in his quiver. Chosen one. Meditate on that image. You are like a polished arrow, hidden in the quiver of God. Arrows are not meant to stay hidden forever. They are concealed until the exact moment they are needed. The fact that you have been hidden does not mean you will remain hidden. It means heaven has been waiting for the appointed time, the perfect moment, to release you with precision toward your destiny. Hiddenness also strips away your dependence on applause. When no one claps for you, you learn to move for an audience of one. When no one notices your faithfulness, you discover the joy of heaven's quiet approval. When no one sees your tears, you realize that the God who bottles them all is closer than you imagined. Hiddenness is where intimacy deepens, where motives are purified, where pride dies, and where humility takes root. Chosen one. Your hidden seasons were not wasted. They were sacred classrooms where God Himself was your teacher. You learned lessons that cannot be taught in the spotlight: how to endure in silence, how to obey without reward, how to trust without evidence, how to hope when nothing changes. These are the foundations that will sustain you when the unveiling comes. Think of David, tending sheep while his brothers stood tall in the house of Jesse. To everyone else, he was insignificant, a boy in the fields. But heaven saw him. Heaven trained him with lions and bears before Goliath ever appeared. Heaven hid him in obscurity before revealing him as king. In the same way, your hiddenness is training you for battles and crowns you cannot yet imagine. Chosen one, do not resent being unseen. Do not despise the silence. For the God who hid you is the same God who will reveal you. And when He does, it will not be random, it will be right on time. The unveiling of chosen ones is never accidental. It is precise, strategic, unstoppable. This is why your heart has always resisted the urge to chase recognition. Even when you tried, something in you recoiled. You were not made to seek man's applause. You were made to carry heaven's authority. Your hiddenness has preserved you from counterfeit crowns. It has kept you from building altars to yourself. It has ensured that when the unveiling comes, you will point all glory to the one who prepared you. Chosen one, you must see this clearly. Hiddenness is not forever. You are in the quiver now, but the release is coming. And when the bow of heaven is drawn, your life will fly farther than you ever dreamed. Every silent year, every lonely night, every unseen sacrifice will propel you forward with divine acceleration. But for now, embrace the quiver. Rest in the shadow of His hand. Let Him polish you, refine you, sharpen you, because when the moment arrives, you must be ready. The world will not need an unsharpened arrow. It will need one prepared in silence, one hidden in faith, one refined by fire. That is what you are becoming. So, hold steady in your hiddenness. The unveiling is certain. The one who concealed you is faithful to reveal you. And when the time comes, no hand can hold you back. No power can restrain you. No enemy can prevent your release. Chosen one, be at peace. You are not forgotten. You are hidden. And there is a world waiting for the moment. Heaven decides to draw you out of the quiver and release you into destiny. Chosen one, the moment you have been waiting for is drawing near. Hiddenness is giving way to recognition, and silence is giving way to revelation. What was once buried in the soil is about to break through the surface. You are stepping into the season where what heaven whispered in secret will be confirmed openly. This is not a time to shrink back. This is a time to rise. Your life is evidence that God raises the hidden. He takes what the world ignores and uses it for His glory. He takes what people dismiss and transforms it into testimony. You are about to walk into spaces you once thought were closed to you. Doors are opening, not because of human approval, but because heaven has decreed your unveiling. Chosen one, this is the season of recognition, but not recognition for the sake of vanity. It is recognition for the sake of assignment. God is positioning you where your voice, your presence, and your obedience will carry weight. You are stepping into circles where your light cannot be ignored, where your authority cannot be denied, where your testimony cannot be silenced. Chosen one, recognition does not come without cost. you will discover that the very visibility you prayed for also attracts eyes that do not celebrate you. Some will resist, some will misunderstand, and some will envy. Yet this, too, is confirmation. The light on a hill is not only seen by those who need direction, it is also seen by those who prefer darkness. Do not fear their response. Focus on your assignment. In this season, your responsibility is to guard your heart while walking boldly into the doors God is opening. Let humility be your shield and wisdom be your guide. Do not confuse recognition with validation. Your worth has always been secured in God. Long before people began to notice, recognition is simply heaven's timing aligning with earth's stage. When you stand in those circles of influence, remember you are there, not for applause, but for impact. The ancient words recorded in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, declare, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Shine before all, revealing the Father's glory." Chosen one, take this to heart. You cannot remain hidden when God decides to reveal you. Just as light cannot be covered, you cannot be silenced. Just as a city on a hill is seen from afar, your life will shine as a beacon. This is not arrogance, it is destiny. You were chosen to shine, and the unveiling is proof that your preparation was not in vain. Yet, recognition carries responsibility. The moment of unveiling is not about pride, but about purpose. You must remember the lessons of hiddenness, the dependence, the humility, the purity of motive. These will anchor you when visibility comes. For with visibility comes pressure, and with recognition comes opposition. But fear not, for the same God who sustained you in silence will sustain you in the spotlight. Chosen one, do you feel the weight of this, the shift happening in your spirit, the sense that the time is near? You are not imagining it. Heaven is aligning circumstances, relationships, and opportunities to bring you into fullness. What was once delayed is about to accelerate. What once seemed denied is about to be released. Your time of recognition is here. And in this moment, I ask you sincerely, do not keep this to yourself. Share this word. Someone else is scrolling right now, desperate for confirmation that they are not invisible, that their hidden years are not wasted. You could be the instrument heaven uses to awaken them. Like this message, not out of routine, but as an act of agreement. Each like is a way of saying, yes, I believe this is my season. Yes, I stand in faith. Subscribing is not just about following a channel, it is about staying connected to reminders that you are chosen, reminders that strengthen you as you walk into recognition. And comment below, not with long explanations, but with your simple agreement. I receive this. Those 3 words are powerful. They shift your posture from passive hearing to active acceptance. They declare to heaven and to yourself that you embrace the season of unveiling. Do not underestimate these acts. The enemy uses small lies to destroy hope, but heaven uses small acts of obedience to multiply truth. Your engagement is not meaningless. It spreads light further than you realize. It allows more chosen ones to awaken, more hearts to be strengthened, more lives to be aligned. Chosen one, you are not stepping into recognition for your own glory. You are stepping into it for the glory of God. Your testimony will encourage those who feel forgotten. Your courage will inspire those who are weary. Your obedience will break chains for those still in bondage. This is why the unveiling is happening now, because the world needs the light you carry. Remember this, the same God who whispered your name in secret is now declaring it openly. The same God who hid you in his hand is now revealing you to his people. The same God who sustained you in silence will now sustain you in visibility. You are not stepping out alone. You are stepping out with heaven's backing. So rise boldly. Chosen one. Walk into your season of recognition with confidence, not in yourself, but in the one who called you. Shine your light without apology. Share your story without fear. Stand tall, for you are no longer hidden. And as you embrace this season, let your response echo beyond yourself. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, not for numbers, but for impact. Each action is a way of saying, I align with heaven. I embrace my unveiling. I step into my recognition. Chosen one, your time has come. The unveiling is here. Walk in it. Chosen one. Separation has always been part of your story. You may not have understood it at first. You only felt the sting of being left out, the ache of walking alone, the discomfort of being pulled away from what seemed comfortable. Yet separation was not random. It was divine. For those whom God chooses, he also separates. He pulls them away from what would dilute their purpose, compromise their integrity, or suffocate their fire. This separation often begins quietly. Friends you once felt close to slowly drift away. Opportunities you thought were meant for you vanish. Environments that once felt comfortable suddenly feel restrictive. It can feel like loss, but in truth, it is preservation. God removes you from what cannot carry you into your destiny. What feels like subtraction is actually multiplication in disguise. Chosen one. You must see this clearly. Separation is not rejection. It is alignment. Heaven has always been strategic with those it marks. Noah was separated from his generation. Abraham from his homeland. Moses from Pharaoh's palace. David from his brothers. Esther from her people. And Jesus from the crowds. Each was chosen, and each was separated. You are no different. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 15, verse 19. If you repent, I will restore you to serve me. If you speak what is worthy, you will be my spokesman. Let the people turn to you, but you must not turn to them. This verse reveals the heart of separation. You are not to conform to the patterns around you. Instead, you are called to set a standard that others will be drawn toward. The pull to fit in has always felt impossible for you. And that is not failure, it is calling. Chosen ones cannot blend with environments that compromise their identity. They are set apart for a higher assignment. Think about the seasons when you tried to hold on to relationships that no longer aligned with your spirit. You felt the tension, the disconnection, the silent unraveling. No matter how much effort you put in, something in your soul knew it was time to release. That unease was heaven's warning. Not every hand that holds you is meant to walk with you into your future. Some are anchors disguised as companions. Separation is the mercy of God cutting ties before they cut you. Chosen one. Separation is not only about people, it is also about habits, environments, and even parts of yourself. God has been peeling away the layers that do not reflect His image in you. Old mindsets, unhealthy patterns, destructive desires. These cannot remain if you are to carry the weight of your calling. The pruning feels painful, but it is necessary. Without separation from the old, there can be no entrance into the new. At times, separation leaves you in solitude, where you question, why am I so alone? Why does no one understand me? But solitude is sacred. It is where God trains your ears to hear His whisper without distraction. It is where your dependence shifts fully onto Him. And when the season of solitude ends, you emerge with clarity, to strength and authority that others cannot imitate. Consider this: the ark Noah built was not constructed in the noise of the crowd, it was built in separation. Abraham's covenant was not formed in the familiarity of his homeland, it was birthed in obedience to leave. Moses' fire was not ignited in Pharaoh's palace, it was lit in the wilderness. And Jesus' ministry was not launched in the marketplace, it was prepared in 40 days of solitude. Separation is not a detour, it is the doorway to destiny. Chosen one. Stop interpreting your isolation as insignificance. The fact that God separates you is proof that He trusts you. He knows that you will endure the discomfort of distance for the sake of preservation. He knows you will accept the pruning for the sake of fruitfulness. He knows you will surrender temporary attachments for the sake of eternal assignments. Heaven's confidence in you is revealed through the separations you have endured. Do not resent those who left you. Do not curse the opportunities that slipped away. Do not mourn the environments you had to exit. Instead, bless them and release them. They were not meant to remain because your calling required a different path. What you perceive as abandonment was actually alignment. What you call loneliness, heaven calls refinement. Separation is always for greater connection. When God removes, He also replaces. When He prunes, He also plants. When He takes away what is not aligned, He prepares to surround you with those who are. A season will come when you will no longer walk alone, but you will walk with those who carry the same fire, the same purpose, the same hunger. The separation is simply making room for divine connections. And hear this: chosen ones are never truly alone. Even when people leave, even when silence surrounds, heaven remains. The Spirit within you is closer than breath. The angels around you are more numerous than you realize. The presence of God overshadows every absence. What feels like isolation is often crowded with unseen company. Chosen one. Separation is not forever. It is a season, and seasons change. When its work is complete, you will look back and understand why certain people could not stay, why certain paths had to end, why certain desires had to die. And you will thank God for every moment He protected you through separation. So, walk with peace. Let go of what heaven has removed. Trust the pruning. Embrace the solitude. Honor the separation. For it is not rejection, it is direction. It is not loss, it is preservation. And it is not the end, it is the necessary path to the greater purpose awaiting you. Chosen one. There are moments in your journey when the weight of loss feels unbearable. You have watched things you loved slip from your hands. You have buried dreams, mourned relationships, and stood in the ashes of what once felt secure. And though you tried to hold on, heaven allowed certain things to be stripped away. It is in these moments that your heart asks, why? Loss is one of the sharpest tools in God's hand. It cuts deeply, not to destroy you, but to prune you. The truth is this: you could not step into what is coming while clinging to what has passed. Some things were removed because they would have hindered you. Some people left because they could not walk with you into the future. Some doors closed because they would have led you away from your calling. Chosen one, your pain is real. Heaven does not dismiss your tears. Every night you cried was recorded. Every sigh of sorrow was noticed. Every unanswered question was heard. But your pain is not wasted. The pruning you endured is preparation for greater fruit. Just as a gardener cuts branches not to harm the tree, but to make it more fruitful, so has God cut things away from your life to make space for increase. The Word of God declares in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 2, He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. Meditate on this truth. Pruning happens not because you are barren, but because you are fruitful. You have been cut, not because you failed, but because you are destined for greater harvest. Heaven prunes only what it intends to use. If you have been pruned, it means God is preparing to multiply your impact. Chosen one, consider the things you lost. At first, they felt essential. You thought you could not live without them. Yet as time has passed, you see how their absence has shaped you. Without those losses, you would not have grown in strength. Without those endings, you would not have discovered your resilience. Without that pain, you would not have developed such intimacy with God. Loss has not weakened you, it has sharpened you. This does not mean the pruning was easy. In fact, it often felt like death. The death of dreams, the death of expectations, the death of relationships you cherished. Yet, in those very graves, seeds were planted. What felt like burial was actually sowing, and seeds buried in faith always rise in resurrection. Look at your own story. You survived things that could have crushed you. You endured storms that could have drowned you. You kept walking when others would have quit. And those scars remain. They testify of survival, of perseverance, of divine preservation. The pruning did not destroy you, it transformed you. Chosen one. The pain of pruning often blinds you to its purpose. You see only what was taken, not what is being prepared. But over time, the vision clears. You begin to see that pruning was necessary to keep you aligned, to keep you dependent, to keep you positioned. You realize that what you lost was never meant to carry you into the future. Heaven was protecting you from foundations too fragile to hold the weight of your calling. Think of Abraham, asked to leave his homeland. Think of Job, who lost everything only to be restored, double. Think of Ruth, who mourned her husband but stepped into destiny alongside Boaz. Think of the disciples, who left nets and families to follow Jesus. Every story of destiny carries the mark of pruning. None are spared from loss, but all are rewarded with increase. Chosen one, allow yourself to grieve. Grieving is not weakness, it is part of healing. But grieve with hope, for every tear shed in faith is a seed for joy. For every loss endured with trust is a foundation for increase. Heaven does not take without giving, and what God gives always surpasses what was lost. This is the mystery of pruning. It feels like subtraction, but it is multiplication. What seems like emptiness becomes abundance. What feels like ending becomes beginning. What looks like death becomes resurrection. Your task is not to cling to what has been removed, but to trust the one who removed it. Trust that he sees what you cannot. Trust that his pruning is precise, purposeful, and merciful. Trust that his plan is not to harm you, but to prosper you, to give you hope and a future. Chosen one. One day you will look back and understand. You will see the wisdom in every loss, the mercy in every closed door, the love in every painful pruning. You will no longer mourn what was taken, because you will be living in what was prepared. The fruit of this season will prove the purpose of your pain. Until then, hold steady. Do not despise the pruning. Do not curse the loss. Do not assume you are being punished. Instead, lift your eyes and declare, I am being prepared for greater harvest. For chosen ones are not destroyed by pruning, they are multiplied through it. So take courage. Beloved, the pruning was never to leave you empty. It was always to make room for fullness. And though the branches cut away will not return, the fruit to come will far outweigh the pain of what was lost. Chosen one. You know by now that your journey is not ordinary. Your nights are filled with dreams that carry meaning. Your days are filled with patterns that seem to repeat until you pay attention. Certain numbers, certain words, certain encounters follow you. And though others dismiss them as coincidence, you feel the tug of heaven whispering through them. These are prophetic confirmations, divine signals that you are being guided step by step. You must understand, God speaks in many ways, not only through audible voice or written scripture, but also through signs, visions, and confirmations that seem subtle yet undeniable. When you see the same number over and over, when you hear the same phrase in different places, when your spirit leaps at a pattern, it is heaven reminding you that you are not wandering, you are being led. Sometimes these confirmations arrive in the quiet of the night, as dreams so vivid you cannot shake them. Other times, they appear in ordinary settings, a stranger's words, a repeated scripture, a symbol that appears again and again until you stop and listen. These are not accidents. They are heaven's fingerprints pressed into your daily life. Chosen one. The reason you receive these confirmations is because you are marked for purpose. Ordinary lives may drift without direction, but chosen ones are too valuable to be left unguided. Heaven leaves trails of light for you to follow, reminders that you are aligned with something greater than yourself. Chosen one. Confirmations also come in ways that challenge your logic. A door may close so suddenly that you are forced to pause, only to realize later it was heaven protecting you from disaster. Or a person may enter your path for a brief season, delivering a word that burns in your spirit before disappearing again. These interruptions are not random, they are markers, placed by God to remind you He is directing your journey. At times, the signs are gentle, almost like whispers in the wind. A verse appears repeatedly in different settings. A melody you hear carries peace you cannot explain. Even nature seems to echo what your heart is already sensing. These are not accidents, they are signals. The Spirit is weaving reminders through your environment, teaching you to see with spiritual eyes and to trust that no detail in your life is outside His careful design. It was proclaimed in the book of Job, chapter 33, verses 14 and 15. For God does speak now one way, now another, though no one perceives it, in a dream, in a vision of the night. When deep sleep falls on people as they slumber in their beds, these words reveal the truth you have lived. God has been speaking to you in dreams, in whispers, in repeated patterns. The challenge is not his silence, the challenge is our perception. Too often, chosen ones doubt what they see, dismiss what they feel, and silence the stirrings of their spirit. But heaven has been patient, repeating confirmations until you finally recognize them for what they are. Think of the times when you ignored a warning in your spirit and later regretted it, or the times when you felt peace about a path that made no sense to others, only to discover it was the right choice all along. That was heaven guiding you. Your spirit is tuned to frequencies others cannot hear. And while it makes you different, it also makes you directed, chosen one. These confirmations are not random encouragements, they are assignments. They tell you when to pause, when to move, when to wait, when to speak. They are the lamp to your feet, the compass for your soul, the numbers you see, the patterns you notice, the dreams that wake you in the night. They are heaven's coded language, training you to listen, to trust, to obey. Do not ignore them. Do not brush them aside as imagination. Each sign is a thread in the tapestry of your destiny. Each confirmation is a stone on the path toward your purpose. Heaven loves you too much to let you walk blind. But here is the weight of it. With confirmation comes responsibility. Once heaven speaks, you are accountable to respond. To ignore a sign is to reject guidance. To delay obedience is to risk detour. This is why chosen ones cannot live casually. Every whisper matters. Every sign counts. Every confirmation carries weight. Chosen one. Your awareness of these things is proof of your sensitivity. Others may laugh at numbers, dismiss patterns, or overlook dreams. But your spirit knows better. You recognize the echo of eternity in the ordinary. You see the fingerprints of God in places most call coincidence. This is not foolishness, it is discernment. And it is a gift that will sharpen as you walk faithfully. Now, as a prophetic act of agreement, I invite you to type this number below, 999. Why 999? Because it is the sign of completion and divine fulfillment. It declares that the old cycles are closing and a new chapter is opening. It represents the end of wandering and the beginning of clarity. By typing 999, you are not writing random digits. You are declaring, I recognize heaven's signs. I align with divine completion. I step into the next chapter with trust. Chosen one. Do not underestimate this declaration. Numbers are more than symbols, they are reminders. Every time you see 999 after today, you will remember this moment. You will remember that heaven has been speaking to you, guiding you, aligning you, and you will walk with confidence, knowing your steps are ordered. Lift your eyes. Beloved, you are not confused, you are confirmed. You are not lost, you are led. You are not forgotten, you are guided. The whispers you hear, the patterns you notice, the numbers that follow you, they are heaven's way of saying, I am with you. I am leading you. I am completing what I began in you. Chosen one. You may have noticed that before every major turning point in your life, the weight of opposition grew heavier. Just when you felt closest to break through, the resistance intensified. Obstacles appeared out of nowhere. Relationships strained. Discouragement pressed down like a storm. At times, you even questioned if you had misunderstood your calling. Yet this pattern is no accident. It is a spiritual principle. The enemy often strikes hardest just before the door opens. This is the paradox of being chosen. The closer you move toward destiny, the louder the opposition becomes. Not because you are failing, but because you are advancing. Darkness always senses when light is about to expand. And so, it throws its fiercest attacks in hopes of exhausting you before you cross the threshold. Consider the wilderness Jesus entered after his baptism. Before he stepped into public ministry, he faced temptation directly from the enemy. Before Moses led Israel out of Egypt, Pharaoh increased the burdens of the people. Before David sat on the throne, Saul pursued him relentlessly. Each of these chosen ones endured heightened opposition just before fulfillment. Their stories mirror yours. Chosen one. Opposition at the edge of destiny is meant to test your resolve. It forces you to decide whether you will shrink back in fear or press forward in faith. The pressure refines your motives. Are you pursuing comfort, or are you pursuing calling? Only those who endure the heat of resistance can carry the weight of glory that follows. The enemy fights hardest here because he knows what waits just beyond. This is why the battle often feels personal, as though darkness studies your weaknesses and strikes at your most vulnerable places. But even these attacks cannot succeed without divine permission. God allows them not to destroy you, but to strengthen you. Much like a trainer increasing the weight, so the athlete grows stronger. Each opposition you endure builds endurance. Each resistance you face prepares you to stand unshaken in your moment of release. The prophet Isaiah spoke of this reality. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord. Chosen one. Meditate on this. The weapons may form, but they cannot prosper. The accusations may rise, but they cannot stick. The enemy may roar, but his voice carries no final authority. Your heritage is one of protection. Your inheritance is one of victory, even in the fiercest storms. Heaven has decreed that you are preserved, but the truth is, the battle often feels unbearable. There are nights when fear stalks your thoughts, days when discouragement whispers louder than faith, seasons when attacks feel relentless. In those moments, you wonder if you will survive. And yet look at you. You are still here. You are still standing. You are still pressing forward. The proof of your survival is the clearest evidence of heaven's hand upon you. Chosen one. Understand this. Opposition is not proof of weakness. It is proof of significance. The enemy does not waste resources on those who pose no threat. If your battles have been fierce, it is because your calling is mighty. If your attacks have been relentless, it is because your assignment carries weight. Hell fears what you are becoming. Opposition also refines your faith. When everything goes smoothly, faith is shallow. But when storms rage, faith is tested and strengthened. You have learned to pray when silence surrounds you, to trust when evidence is absent, to stand when your knees tremble. This faith, forged in fire, is unshakable. It is the kind of faith that moves mountains, breaks chains, and shifts generations. Chosen one. The enemy's last attempts often come wrapped in deception. He whispers lies. You are forgotten. You are failing. You are too late. But lies crumble in the face of truth. You are not forgotten. You are engraved on the palms of his hands. You are not failing. You are being refined. You are not late. You are aligned with heaven's timing. Think of the battles you have faced in recent seasons. Notice how the intensity increased as you drew closer to change. That heaviness was not a sign to quit, it was a sign to persevere. For breakthrough always comes after the darkest night. And though the night feels endless, dawn is inevitable. Chosen one. Let your endurance rise. Stand firm, even when everything shakes. Remember that resistance is often the final barrier before release. Do not confuse pressure with punishment. It is the final test of your strength. The last stretch before crossing into destiny. Heaven has not abandoned you in this fight. It has equipped you for it. Your scars will tell a story, not of defeat, but of resilience, not of abandonment, but of preservation, not of weakness, but of strength. These scars will one day testify to others who feel the same weight, proving that survival is possible, that victory is assured. The chosen ones cannot be overcome. Beloved, opposition is temporary. Glory is eternal. The storms will pass. The attacks will cease. The lies will fade. But the testimony of your endurance will remain forever. And when the season of struggle ends, you will step into the season of fulfillment, carrying authority forged in fire. So take heart. Chosen one, you are not losing, you are being prepared. You are not collapsing, you are being refined. The intensity of your opposition is not the end of your story. It is the sign that your next chapter is about to unfold. Chosen one, there is a truth you must accept today. Your very existence terrifies darkness. You may not always see it. You may not always feel it. But every step you take as one marked by God sends ripples through the unseen realm. Hell shudders when you rise in obedience. Demons scatter when you open your mouth in prayer. The atmosphere shifts simply because you walk into a room. You often underestimate the weight of your presence. You see yourself as fragile, ordinary, or insignificant. Yet the unseen realm knows differently. It remembers the counsel of heaven where your name was whispered. It recognizes the seal of the Spirit upon you. It knows the authority that flows when you align yourself with God's will. That is why opposition surrounds you, not because you are weak, but because you are powerful. Chosen one, you are a living contradiction to darkness. Where you go, light enters. Where you speak, truth pierces. Where you pray, chain loosen. Your life is evidence that heaven's authority still walks the earth in human form. You are not simply enduring life, you are disrupting hell. Chosen one, darkness cannot ignore you, even when people try to. The spirit world reacts to your presence, because the anointing you carry is like fire, where compromise thrives. Your very existence exposes it. Where despair lingers, your faith provokes hope. You may feel overlooked in the natural, but in the supernatural realm, you are a marked one. Hell strategizes against you, not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous to its kingdom. This is why your battles have always felt personal. The enemy strikes your mind with anxiety. your relationships with conflict, your body with fatigue. He hopes to silence the authority you carry by overwhelming you. Yet every time you rise again, every time you pray again, every time you worship through the storm, you prove unstoppable. Your resilience is not natural, it is divine. It is heaven's strength flowing through your humanity. And it is what terrifies darkness most. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 4. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. Chosen one, your prayers are not whispers into empty air, they are weapons that demolish strongholds. Your worship is not routine, it is warfare. Your obedience is not small, it is earth-shaking. Every act of faith sends shockwaves into realms you cannot see, dismantling schemes designed to trap you. This is why the enemy has fought you so fiercely, because you are not harmless. You are a weapon in God's hand. Think of it. How many times have you felt resistance for no apparent reason? You entered a place and felt heaviness. You spoke truth and suddenly faced backlash. You stood firm, and suddenly opposition increased. That is not coincidence, it is confirmation. Darkness reacts to light, and you carry a light that cannot be hidden. Chosen one, the time has come to stop shrinking back in fear of your own authority. Stop apologizing for your fire. Stop hiding your light to make others comfortable. You are chosen to disrupt, not to blend. You were born to terrify the darkness, not to negotiate with it. This is why your words matter. The declarations you make carry power. The prayers you speak alter destinies. The obedience you live out sets a precedent in the spirit realm. You are not simply living day by day. You are advancing heaven's kingdom every moment you choose to stand in faith. But hear this, you cannot carry this mantle alone. Just as a torch is brighter when lifted high, your impact multiplies when joined with others. That is why I ask you, sincerely and without hesitation, share this word. Let others who are chosen but sleeping be awakened. You may never know whose life you touch, whose hope you restore, whose destiny you ignite. And while you are here, take a moment to like this message, not as an empty gesture, but as an agreement with heaven. I stand in the light. I embrace my authority. I refuse to shrink back. Every click is an act of alignment. Subscribe as well, so that your spirit remains anchored in continual reminders of who you are. Chosen ones cannot afford to drift. They must stay connected to truth, encouragement, and divine instruction. Staying connected is not about content, it is about covenant. Do not underestimate these simple acts. Just as obedience in small things opens doors for greater, so your small acts here ripple outward in unseen ways. What you affirm publicly becomes reinforced privately. What you declare outwardly strengthens what you believe inwardly. Chosen one, you are not passive in this story. You are a participant in a divine battle. Every time you engage, every time you share, every time you stand boldly, you remind darkness that it cannot win. You remind heaven that you are aligned, and you remind yourself that you were born for such a time as this. Lift your head, straighten your shoulders. Remember who you are. You are not a victim, you are a vessel. You are not forgotten, you are a force. You are not ordinary, you are chosen. And because you are chosen, you carry an authority that terrifies the kingdom of darkness. So, beloved, Live boldly. Pray without hesitation. Worship without shame. Obey without delay. Let your life blaze so brightly that darkness trembles at your rising, and as you do, let your actions here, liking, sharing, subscribing, be prophetic acts of agreement that say, I am chosen, I am burning, I am unshakable, for the truth is unshakable. No power of darkness can stand against the light you carry, and you, chosen one, are heaven's torch in a trembling world. Chosen one. Obedience has always been the dividing line between those who walk in destiny and those who fade into obscurity. You know this already in your spirit. Every time you delayed, every time you hesitated, every time you silenced the whisper in your heart, you felt the weight of missed opportunity. And every time you acted quickly in faith, you saw doors open that no human hand could have unlocked. Obedience is not glamorous, but it is glorious. It demands sacrifice, humility, and courage. It asks you to trust God when the path makes no sense, when the risk feels unbearable, when the cost feels too high. But obedience is also the very thing that accelerates your destiny. For chosen ones, delayed obedience is still disobedience. Heaven does not only ask for partial surrender, it asks for all. The ancient words recorded in the first book of Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22, still echo with fire. To obey is better than sacrifice, and to heed is better than the fat of rams. Chosen one. Read that again slowly. Obedience outweighs sacrifice. This means God does not measure your worth by how much you endure for Him, but by how fully you align with His will. He is not impressed with rituals or appearances. He is moved by surrender. Every act of obedience, no matter how small, carries eternal weight. Think of Abraham, called to leave his homeland without knowing the destination. His obedience birthed nations. Think of Noah, who built an ark when the world had never seen rain. His obedience preserved humanity. Think of Mary, who said yes to carrying the impossible. Her obedience ushered salvation into the world. Each story proves one truth: obedience changes history. And so it is with you. Your obedience is not only about your personal growth, it carries generational impact. The choices you make ripple into your family, your community, even into places you might never see. This is why the Spirit presses you so strongly when you hesitate. Heaven knows what is at stake when you delay. Chosen one. You may struggle with fear. You may feel unworthy, uncertain, or incapable. But obedience is not about your strength. It is about your surrender. God never asked you to be perfect. He asked you to be willing. He never demanded that you understand everything. He only required that you trust Him. The weight is not on your shoulders to perform. The weight is on your heart to yield. There are moments when obedience feels costly. Saying no to relationships that pull you away from your calling. Walking away from opportunities that glitter but are not aligned. Speaking truth, even when silence would feel safer. Each act of obedience strips you of comfort, but it also clothes you in authority. Chosen ones are always refined through costly decisions, because cheap obedience cannot carry eternal crowns. Think back on your own life. The times you obeyed quickly. You saw miracles unfold. The times you resisted. You felt heaviness increase. The pattern is undeniable. Life flows through obedience. and stagnation follows disobedience. This is why God presses so firmly on your spirit. He is not punishing you. He is protecting you. He knows that every step matters when you carry such weight. Chosen one, I urge you in this moment, do not delay. Obey while the whisper is fresh. Respond while the fire burns. Step forward while the door is open. For hesitation is often the thief of destiny. What you postpone today may never return tomorrow. This is why urgency accompanies the call of heaven. It is not cruelty. It is mercy. And now, I ask you to respond prophetically. Write these words in the comments below. I will obey. And just 3 words. But they carry eternity inside them. By writing them, you silence fear. You break agreement with hesitation. You declare to yourself, to heaven, and to the unseen world, I choose obedience. Do not underestimate the power of this act. What you declare with faith shapes the atmosphere around you. Chosen one, understand this clearly. Obedience will cost you, but disobedience will cost you more. Obedience may strip you of temporary comfort, but disobedience robs you of eternal inheritance. You cannot afford to hesitate when the King of Heaven calls. He did not whisper your name in the council of eternity so you could live half awake. He chose you so that you could live fully aligned. Do not let fear bind you. Do not let doubt paralyze you. The God who calls you is the same God who equips you. The one who asks for your obedience is the same, one who provides strength to carry it out. You are not left alone to figure it out. He walks with you, step by step, until the path becomes clear. Chosen one, this is your crossroads. Will you delay again? Or will you step boldly? Will you let fear rule? Or will you surrender fully? Heaven waits for your answer, but not forever. There are moments when destiny demands decision, and this is one of them. Rise, beloved. Obey the whisper. Say yes to the call. Walk forward, even if your knees shake. For obedience is the gateway to your unveiling, your authority, your crown. And as you write, I will obey, in agreement, let your spirit seal it as covenant. This is not just another word. This is your defining moment. Heaven is watching. The unseen realm is listening, and your destiny waits on the other side of your obedience. Chosen one, there is something sacred about waiting. It is one of the most difficult seasons for any soul. Yet it is also one of the most transformative. Waiting feels like silence. Waiting feels like delay. Waiting feels like heaven has forgotten the timetable. And yet, for the chosen ones, waiting is never wasted. It is the ground where patience grows, where faith deepens, and where trust is refined into gold. You know this struggle well. You have prayed and felt no immediate answer. You have dreamed and seen no quick fulfillment. You have walked faithfully and yet wondered why the door remained closed. The temptation to quit has whispered in your ear more than once, and yet something within you, the whisper of the Spirit, has kept you standing, kept you hoping, kept you waiting. Chosen one, heaven has not ignored you. The silence of waiting is not neglect, it is preparation. God is not punishing you with delay. He is positioning you with precision. There are details being aligned, relationships being shaped, environments being shifted, and hearts being prepared, all while you wait. What seems like inactivity is actually divine orchestration. Chosen one. Waiting is also a mirror. It reveals the posture of your heart. Do you grow bitter? Or do you grow deeper? Do you run ahead in impatience? Or do you stay still in trust? Waiting tests not only your endurance but also your motives. It strips away false expectations and brings you face to face with whether you want God's hand more than His heart. In waiting, you discover if you truly love Him. Waiting reshapes your definition of success. The world equates speed with achievement, but heaven measures fruitfulness by faithfulness. While others rush to arrive quickly, chosen ones are willing to grow slowly. Waiting teaches you to value depth over appearance, roots over branches, substance over show, and when the season shifts, your unveiling will carry a strength and authority that only long seasons of hidden waiting could produce. You will emerge unshakable because you endured. The prophet Habakkuk was given this revelation, and his words remain a pillar of truth. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." Chosen one, absorb this. Your revelation, your breakthrough, your promise awaits an appointed time. It will not prove false. It will not vanish into nothingness. Though it feels delayed, it is not denied. Though it lingers, it is certain. Your task is not to predict the timing, but to trust the timing. Heaven's clock does not miss its mark. Waiting seasons are classrooms. They teach you dependence on God, stripping away your reliance on your own strength. They stretch your patience, forcing you to let go of control. They test your faith, revealing whether you trust God's character more than your circumstances. And in the process, waiting reshapes you into someone capable of carrying the very thing you are waiting for. Think of Joseph, who dreamed of leadership but spent years in prisons and pits before the palace. Think of Hannah, who wept bitterly before holding the child of promise in her arms. Think of Simeon, who waited his entire life to see the Messiah, and yet his waiting was rewarded with the fulfillment of prophecy. Each of them carried the same truth. Waiting is not wasted when God is the author. Chosen one, waiting also protects you. If you receive the promise too soon, it could crush you. If doors opened prematurely, you might step into environments unprepared. Waiting ensures that your character can hold the weight of your calling. It is mercy, not cruelty, when heaven asks you to wait. But waiting does not mean passivity. It is not sitting idly by, twiddling your thumbs. True, waiting is active faith. It is praying, even when the answer has not come. It is worshipping, even when the breakthrough is unseen. It is preparing as though the promise were already on the way. Waiting is faith dressed in patience. Chosen one, recall the growth you have experienced in your waiting. You are not the same person who first prayed those prayers. Your wisdom has deepened. Your discernment has sharpened. Your resilience has strengthened. Waiting has carved you into someone greater than you imagined. The very delay you despised has become the forge of your transformation. Yes, waiting is heavy. Yes, it stretches you to the breaking point, but it also draws you into intimacy with God. In waiting, you lean closer to His whisper. In waiting, you discover His sufficiency. In waiting, You encounter his presence in ways that are often hidden in busier seasons. The silence of waiting is often filled with the loudest revelations of who he is. Chosen one. Do not despise the waiting. Do not mistake it for absence. It is evidence of love, evidence of care, evidence of orchestration. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. And when the appointed time comes, the promise will not be late. It will burst forth with clarity, with precision, with power. So hold steady. Let patience finish its work. Let faith anchor you. Let trust sustain you. For waiting may feel endless, but fulfillment is inevitable. And when the moment comes, you will look back and realize every day of waiting was worth it. Chosen one. Heaven whispers over you now. It will not be late. It will not fail. It will come. Trust the timing, for the timing is perfect. Chosen one. Every step you have taken has been watched carefully by heaven. You may feel at times that your path is uncertain, that you are stumbling forward without clarity. But in reality, your journey is mapped out with divine precision. The detours, the delays, the sudden turns, all of them are part of a design greater than you can comprehend. What feels like confusion to you is orchestration to God. From the very beginning, He has guided your steps, even in your mistakes. His hand has been present, redirecting and redeeming, even in your rebellion. His mercy has intervened, pulling you back from destruction, even in your silence. His voice has whispered, leading you forward. You are chosen, and chosen ones do not walk alone. Chosen one. There were moments you thought everything was falling apart, yet heaven was holding the pieces in perfect order. What looked like chaos was actually choreography. The disappointment you wept over was the very thing steering you into alignment. The doors that slammed shut spared you from traps unseen. The interruptions you resented became intersections of mercy. You were not wandering aimlessly, you were being carried carefully, even when you could not see the hands holding you. And this truth should comfort you. Destiny is not fragile. It cannot be broken by human error or destroyed by enemy schemes. Even your detours were folded back into the map of God's design. Every time you thought you had ruined everything, His mercy rewrote the story. Every season you thought was wasted became fertilizer for the next. You may have stumbled, but heaven never lost its grip. You were preserved because you are chosen. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 9. He has saved us and called us to a holy life, not because of anything we have done, but because of His own purpose and grace. This grace was given us in Christ Jesus before the beginning of time. Chosen one. Meditate on those words. You were called not because of what you did, but because of who He is. Your destiny is anchored not in your performance, but in His purpose. His grace covered you before your failures began. His calling marked you before your name was known in the earth. This is why your journey, no matter how winding, has never been outside His control. Look back over your life. Notice how many times you were spared. Notice how often you were redirected. Think of the situations you thought would break you, but instead became the very events that pushed you deeper into purpose. You thought it was random, you now see it was intentional. Nothing in your story is wasted. Chosen one. You must learn to trust the author of your path. Trust that the pen in His hand is steady, even when the chapter feels chaotic. Trust that His perspective sees the whole book. while you only see a page. Trust that His plan is always for your good, even when the process feels unbearable. Trust is not built when you understand. Trust is built when you surrender. Your journey has been unique because your assignment is unique. Others may have smoother paths, fewer detours, lighter burdens. Do not envy them. You are not called to their road. You are called to your own. The fire you endured, the valleys you crossed, the mountains you climbed, they all prepared you for a level of authority others cannot carry. Chosen one. Destiny is not a straight line. It is a series of turns designed to shape you, strengthen you, and humble you. At times, God allows you to circle the wilderness so that pride dies. At other times, He takes you through storms so that dependence grows. And at still other times, He sets you in silence so that your ears are tuned to His whisper. Every step, even the painful ones, is purposeful. Think of Joseph again, betrayed by brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, imprisoned. His path looked like a series of disasters, yet every turn positioned him closer to the palace. Each step that looked like regression was actually progression. The same is true for you. The pit you endured, the prisons you survived, the betrayals you faced. These were not endings. They were alignments, moving you into the exact position heaven ordained. Chosen one. Destiny often feels delayed because heaven is not only preparing the promise, it is preparing you. The weight of what you carry demands maturity, resilience, and wisdom. If the door opened too soon, it could collapse under your immaturity. But because God loves you, He delays until you are ready to sustain the blessing. Delay is not denial, it is development. And here is the beauty. Nothing can stop the unfolding of your destiny. People may resist you, but they cannot erase you. The enemy may attack you, but he cannot overthrow God's decree. Even your own mistakes cannot derail you, for His grace covers and redeems. The hand of God is too strong, and the calling on your life is too secure to be cancelled by human failure. Chosen one. Your journey is not just about arrival, it is about transformation. The path you walk is shaping you into the image of Christ. Every hardship is molding your character. Every test is deepening your faith. Every delay is purifying your motives. Destiny is not only about where you end up, it is about who you become along the way. So do not despise the road you have walked. Do not curse the detours. Do not regret the valleys. For one day, you will look back and see the beauty of the tapestry. The pain will make sense. The scars will testify, and the journey will shine with the evidence of divine orchestration. Chosen one. Lift your eyes. You are not lost. You are led. You are not abandoned. You are aligned. You are not wandering. You are walking a path written before time began. And the author of your story has promised that He will finish what He started. Chosen one. There is a reason you carry the weight of discernment so strongly. You sense things others ignore. You feel the undercurrents in rooms, the hidden motives in people, the quiet whispers of heaven pressing against your spirit. At times, this sensitivity has felt like a burden. You wondered why you cannot just live carefree, why you notice what others miss, why your spirit feels restless when everyone else seems fine. But this is not weakness. It is the gift of being chosen. Discernment is heaven's way of protecting you. It warns you, When danger hides behind smiles, it pulls you away from opportunities that glitter but are traps. It keeps you from aligning with people whose hearts are not pure. This is why you cannot ignore the unease in your spirit, even when logic tells you otherwise. For chosen ones, discernment is not optional, it is survival. Chosen one. Discernment is also the foundation of authority. Before you can lead, you must first see clearly. Before you can guide others, you must first recognize truth from deception. This is why God sharpened your senses through years of trial and error. Every betrayal you endured, every disappointment you survived, every lie you uncovered, these were lessons training your spirit to discern. Chosen one. Discernment also explains why your spirit feels heavy in certain atmospheres. You walk into a room and sense tension before anyone speaks. You meet someone new, and while their words sound right, your soul feels uneasy. These impressions are not imagination, they are signals. Heaven wired you to pick up what others miss, and though it has made you feel odd or misunderstood, it is proof of your calling. You are a watchman, one set apart to perceive what is hidden. This gift, however, comes with responsibility. Discernment is not given so you can boast about your awareness, but so you can protect, intercede, and build. When God allows you to see beyond the surface, He is entrusting you with stewardship. What you sense in prayer, you are called to cover. What you discern in others, you are called to handle with wisdom. The gift is holy, and if you carry it with humility, it will increase, guiding you into greater authority and clarity in every season. The ancient words recorded in the book of Hebrews, chapter 5, verse 14 declare, "But solid food is for the mature, who by constant use have trained themselves to distinguish good from evil." Chosen one. Maturity in the Spirit comes not through comfort, but through practice. Your discernment has been trained through constant use, through the very struggles you thought would break you. Every moment you leaned on the Spirit instead of your flesh. Your sight became sharper. Every time you obeyed the whisper within instead of the voices around you, your authority deepened. This is why you cannot dismiss the stirring in your soul when something feels wrong. Others may laugh at your caution. Others may call you paranoid or overly spiritual. But you know what you sense. You know when peace departs. You know when darkness creeps. And that inner witness is heaven's alarm bell, protecting you from roads that lead to destruction. Chosen one. Discernment is not only defensive, it is also directive. It not only keeps you from danger, but also guides you into destiny. It nudges you toward relationships that will bless you, opportunities that will align with your calling, paths that will accelerate your growth. You have been positioned again and again, not because of luck, but because of discernment guiding you into alignment. But here is the challenge. Discernment often requires courage. To obey what you sense means you may walk away from what looks good, from what everyone else celebrates, from what seems easier. It takes boldness to say no when everyone else says yes. It takes faith to walk away from comfort, to protect your calling. Yet this is the life of the chosen you live, by revelation, not appearance. Think of how many storms you avoided because you listened to that unease. Think of the betrayals you were spared, the disasters you escaped, the destruction that never touched you because heaven whispered and you obeyed. You may not even realize how many battles were won simply because you listened to discernment. Chosen one. Now, I invite you to make a prophetic declaration of agreement. In the comments, type this number, 7,777. Why 7,777? Because it is the number of divine completion multiplied, a sign of spiritual maturity and discernment perfected. When you write it, you are declaring, I will trust my discernment. I will walk by the Spirit. I will live by revelation, not by appearances. And do not dismiss this act as mere digits. It is a seal, a covenant between your spirit and heaven's wisdom. Each time you see this number in the future, it will remind you, you are chosen, you are guided, you are protected. Discernment is not meant to isolate you. Chosen one, it is meant to elevate you. Those who cannot see clearly will stumble, but you will stand. Those who are swayed by flattery will fall, but you will endure. Those who are blinded by appearances will be deceived, but you will walk in truth. This is the authority of discernment. It keeps you aligned when everything around you shakes. Chosen one, do not suppress this gift. Do not apologize for it. Do not ignore it. Embrace it. Sharpen it. Walk in it boldly. For in the days to come, discernment will be your greatest weapon and your greatest compass. It will keep you safe. It will keep you aligned. It will keep you burning. So, type 7,777. Seal it, and walk forward with confidence, for you are chosen, and chosen ones always walk by sight beyond sight. Chosen one. The light within you is not meant to remain hidden. It was never designed to be locked away in silence or buried under the weight of fear. The fire you carry is for impact, for transformation, for awakening others. That is why you feel the burden to speak, to share, to act. It is the evidence that your life is meant to ripple beyond yourself. For too long, you have believed the lie that your story does not matter, but heaven says otherwise. The testimony you carry is a weapon against darkness, a beacon for those still wandering. When you tell your story, chains break. When you shine your light, shadows flee. When you release what God has given you, others discover hope. Chosen one. Do you remember how often you wished someone had spoken life to you in your darkest seasons? Do you remember how desperately you longed for confirmation that you were not alone? You are now that confirmation for someone else. You are the voice someone has been waiting to hear. The evidence that survival is possible. The reminder that destiny still burns even when everything feels broken. Chosen one. Silence may have seemed easier, but silence steals impact. Your story, your survival, your scars, they were never meant to be wasted. The pain you endured is the very proof that someone else needs to keep going. Every valley you walked through holds keys for those still lost in darkness. You are not simply a survivor, you are a messenger. Your past is not shame, it is testimony. And testimony always carries the power to set captives free. Remember, even the smallest flame can push back the deepest night. You may think your story is too simple, too ordinary, too broken, but heaven says otherwise. The details you dismiss are the very details someone else is praying to hear. Your journey carries echoes that will resonate with souls standing on the edge of despair. By speaking, you scatter the lie that they are alone. By shining, you reveal that God can redeem even the most shattered lives. Chosen one. Heaven never intended your voice to stay buried. Fear told you to hide. Shame told you to stay quiet. Doubt told you it wouldn't matter. Yet every time you resisted those lies, even for a moment, you felt life return. That is because obedience to speak, to shine, to share releases heaven's breath through you. Your voice does not have to be perfect, it only has to be yielded. And when it is, chains fall, eyes open, and hope rises. The Word of God declares in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16, in the same way, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Chosen one. This is your call. Let your light shine, not for applause, not for vanity, not for recognition, but so that heaven receives glory. When you step boldly into your purpose, people do not only see you, they see God in you. Your obedience becomes their invitation. Your faith becomes their courage. Your endurance becomes their testimony. And this is why I speak plainly. Do not keep this word locked within yourself. Share it. Someone scrolling right now is teetering on the edge of despair, and your simple act of sharing could be their lifeline. You may never know whose spirit awakens because you chose to spread the light, but heaven knows. Heaven records every seed you sow, like this message, not as routine, but as a declaration. I agree with the light I carry. I affirm that my purpose matters. Every click is an agreement with heaven's call on your life. Subscribing is not merely about staying updated. It is about tethering yourself to a stream of reminders that keep your fire burning when the world tries to dim it. Chosen one. The enemy has tried to silence you because he fears your voice. He has tried to convince you that your story holds no weight because he knows the freedom it could release in others. He has tried to bury your fire because he knows how many lives could be ignited by it. But the truth remains, your voice is powerful. Your story is holy. Your fire is unstoppable. This is not a time to remain silent. This is not a time to shrink back. This is a time to rise boldly, to declare your agreement with heaven, to shine without apology. Your obedience today may set someone free tomorrow. Your willingness to speak may save a soul you will never meet. Do not underestimate the reach of your light. Chosen one. Even the smallest act of engagement carries power. A like spreads visibility. A share carries truth into places you cannot walk physically. A subscription keeps you aligned with a flow of words designed to strengthen your journey. These actions may seem small, but they are prophetic. They are seeds. And heaven multiplies seeds. Imagine this. Thousands of chosen ones awakened because you refused to hide your light. Families restored. Faith revived. Destinies unlocked, all because you said yes to letting your fire shine. This is what is at stake. This is why heaven urges you not to delay. Beloved, the days of silence are over. You are not ordinary. You are not invisible. You are not powerless. You are chosen, and your voice is needed. Rise now, chosen one, and let your light be seen. And as you do, like, share, and subscribe, not for numbers, not for vanity, but as an act of obedience, a prophetic declaration that says, my light will not be hidden, my fire will not be silenced, my destiny will not be delayed. Chosen one, there is a mantle on your life that cannot be ignored any longer. For too long, you have questioned whether you are worthy, whether you are ready, whether you are truly chosen. But hear this clearly. The very fact that you feel the weight of hesitation is proof that heaven has placed something on you too great to carry in your own strength. That is why you tremble, because the mantle is holy. This mantle is not for comfort. It is not for applause. It is not for status. It is for assignment. Heaven does not crown chosen ones so they can sit in pride. Heaven crowns them so they can serve with authority. And this mantle is now resting on your shoulders. Whether you acknowledge it or not, whether you feel ready or not, it is there. You sense it every time you try to blend in and fail. You feel it every time you try to silence your voice, but it burns louder. You notice it every time you step into a room and the atmosphere shifts. These are not coincidences. They are the weight of a mantle. And the longer you resist, the heavier it feels. The ancient words in the book of Esther, chapter 4, verse 14, speak directly into your spirit. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this, chosen one. This is your moment. You were not born by accident. You were not placed in this generation by chance. You were appointed, anointed, and released into this specific time in history to carry out a divine mission. The mantle you wear is not random. It was whispered over you in eternity before you ever drew breath. This is why the resistance against you has been so fierce. Mantles attract warfare. The enemy knows that if you step fully into who you are, his grip will loosen over many lives. That is why he has tried to silence you with fear, distract you with noise, and drown you in doubt. But what hell fears most is happening. You are awakening, chosen one. The mantle comes with responsibility. You cannot live as others live. You cannot compromise where others compromise. You cannot sleep while others slumber. Your life is not your own. It belongs to the one who chose you. This is why the weight feels heavy at times. But remember, with the mantle comes the strength to carry it. God never lays a mantle without also releasing grace. Think of Elijah and Elisha. When the mantle passed, it was not light. It carried the weight of prophetic authority. Think of David, crowned king, yet still carrying the scars of rejection. Think of Paul, marked by encounters, yet pressed on every side. Each of them bore mantles that cost them comfort, but brought them into glory. And so it is with you, chosen one. This is not the time to hesitate. Heaven is looking for your response. Will you carry the mantle with boldness? Or will you shrink back in fear? Will you rise into your assignment? Or will you bury your calling in excuses? The decision is yours. But the mantle will not lift. It will remain, pressing on your spirit until you step fully into it. And now, I call you to make a declaration, not for me, but for yourself and for heaven. In the comments, write these words: I choose my crown. 3 simple words, but they carry the weight of eternity. When you type them, you are breaking agreement with fear. You are silencing the lies that say you are not ready. You are declaring to the unseen world, I will not shrink back. I will carry the mantle. I will walk in my authority. Do not underestimate this prophetic act. Words spoken in faith shift atmospheres. Words typed in alignment seal decisions. When you declare, I choose my crown, you are not just agreeing with this message, you are agreeing with heaven's plan for your life. You are choosing destiny over delay, obedience over hesitation, calling over comfort, Chosen one, your crown is not a symbol of ease, it is a symbol of endurance. It represents every valley you survived, every battle you endured, every tear you shed. It is proof that you did not quit when quitting seemed easier. And now, heaven places it before you, waiting for your agreement. Do not let fear rob you of what has always been yours. Do not let doubt steal the moment heaven designed. Do not let hesitation keep you in shadows when you were made for light. The mantle is yours. The crown is yours. The assignment is yours. All that remains is your response. Beloved, as you declare your choice, know this: heaven celebrates you. Angels rejoice when chosen ones rise. The Father himself smiles when his children embrace the destiny he whispered long ago. You are not walking into this mantle alone. You are stepping into it surrounded by the strength of heaven. So rise. Speak it. Seal it. I choose my crown. Let those words echo in your spirit. Not just today, but every day forward. Let them remind you that you are not ordinary. You are not forgotten. You are not weak. You are chosen, crowned, and unstoppable. Chosen one. Destiny has never been a straight path. It bends. It curves. It climbs. And at times, it descends into valleys that test your soul. You have learned that the journey is as important as the destination. Every step, whether joyful or painful, has carved something into you. Patience, resilience, humility, faith. These are not lessons taught in classrooms. They are formed in the wilderness of experience, in the storms of life, and in the silence of waiting. At times, you questioned the detours. You thought, why this road? Why this pain? Why this delay? Yet, in hindsight, you begin to see how every bend prepared you for the next. The disappointments birthed compassion. The losses created empathy. The betrayals sharpened discernment. Nothing has been wasted. Heaven does not squander pain, it repurposes it. The Apostle Paul wrote of this refining power. The ancient words in the book of Romans, chapter 5, verses 3 and 4, proclaim, "We also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope." Chosen one. Pause here. Let those words breathe. Your suffering was never pointless. It produced perseverance. Perseverance built character. And character birthed hope. Hope that cannot be shaken. Hope that cannot be bought. Hope that cannot be extinguished. You carry a depth that could only have been formed through endurance. Consider Joseph again. Sold as a slave. Imprisoned unjustly. Forgotten by men. Each stage looked like regression. But each stage refined him into a vessel fit for rulership. Had he skipped the pit, the prison, or the pain, he would not have had the wisdom to govern a nation. In the same way, your valleys were not detours, they were classrooms, shaping you for the throne that awaits. Chosen one. The journey also exposes what is within. In seasons of abundance, gratitude is easy. In seasons of scarcity, trust is tested. When stripped of comfort, you discover whether faith is shallow or deep. And you, beloved, have discovered a faith that endures storms. It may have been battered, it may have been shaken, but it has not broken. That is the mark of the chosen. Your endurance testifies to heaven's strength in you. Others would have quit under the same weight. Others would have surrendered to bitterness. Others would have drowned in despair. Yet here you are, still walking, still breathing, still burning. That alone is evidence of grace. You are living proof that chosen ones cannot be destroyed. Chosen one. The journey also reveals purpose through contrast. How could you know the sweetness of peace if you had not endured chaos? How could you value light if you had not walked through shadows? How could you appreciate healing if you had not carried wounds? The contrasts of your life are the canvas where God paints testimony. You may still feel the ache of certain scars, but those scars are not shame, they are sacred. They remind you of battles fought and victories won. They are proof that you endured what was meant to end you, and they shine as quiet authority when you stand before others, declaring hope. People listen, not because of polished words, but because of lived truth. Chosen one. Your story is not over. The same God who carried you through valleys is leading you toward higher ground. The journey has prepared you, but the destination will reveal you. You have been hidden, refined, tested, and strengthened, and soon the unveiling will come. Do not despise the time it has taken. Precious things are never rushed. Diamonds form under pressure and time. Oaks grow slowly, but stand immovable for centuries. Your destiny is too weighty to be hurried. What feels like delay is heaven ensuring you are unshakable. Chosen one. You must also recognize that the journey has not been about you alone. Every lesson you learned, every fire you endured, every tear you shed, they were not only for your growth, but for others' freedom. You will speak into places of brokenness with authority because you lived through them. You will carry healing in your hands because you know the sting of wounds. You will shine light into darkness because you remember how suffocating the night once felt. This is the pattern of chosen ones. Moses, once a fugitive, became a deliverer. David, once a shepherd boy overlooked by men, became a king after years of rejection and pursuit. Paul, once a persecutor, became an apostle through trials and imprisonments. Their journeys were not wasted. They became the very proof of their authority. So it is with you. The journey has been long, but it has not been meaningless. The road has been rough, but it has carved greatness into your soul. The suffering has been bitter, but it has birthed a sweetness in your spirit that no storm can steal. Chosen one. Lift your eyes now. You are not at the end. You are on the path. Do not curse the road beneath your feet. Do not resent the valleys behind you. Do not fear the mountains ahead. Walk with confidence, knowing that every step is carrying you closer to the fulfillment written over your life. And when the day comes that you stand in the place heaven has prepared, you will not boast in your strength. You will testify of His faithfulness. You will say, I endured not because I was strong, but because God was with me, and that testimony will carry the power to ignite faith in multitudes. Chosen one. The journey is sacred. Cherish it, endure it, and trust it. For though it is long, it is leading you into glory. Chosen one. There comes a point in your journey where everything begins to make sense. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, not because the storms cease, but because your perspective shifts. You begin to see that every season carried purpose, every tear was counted, every valley built strength, and every mountain revealed glory. This understanding is not given lightly, it is the reward of endurance. The fruit of years spent walking with God through both silence and song. Perspective is the treasure of maturity. When you were younger in the faith, you longed only for answers. You wanted explanations for your pain, clarity for your confusion, timelines for your waiting. And when heaven was silent, you felt abandoned. But now, after walking through shadows and discovering light on the other side, you realize silence was not absence, confusion was not chaos, delay was not denial. You see the hand of God in places you once only saw loss. Chosen one. Perspective changes everything. The same storm that once terrified you now testifies of preservation. The same rejection that once broke your heart now shines as protection. The same loss that once felt unbearable now reveals itself as redirection. You no longer look back with bitterness, you look back with gratitude. Because you see what you could not see then. God was always working for your good. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 13. Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. Chosen one. These words echo across your journey. Fear once ruled your heart, but now you know courage. Panic once consumed you, but now you stand firm. Despair once whispered that you would not survive, but now you carry testimony of deliverance. This is perspective, seeing the faithfulness of God so clearly that fear loses its grip. Perspective is not only about looking back, it is also about looking forward with vision. You no longer see the future as a threat, but as a promise. Where others shrink in fear of what lies ahead, you walk with confidence. Not because you know every detail, but because you know the one who holds every detail. You walk not in arrogance, but in trust. You declare with your life, the same God who carried me before will carry me again. Chosen one. Perspective gives birth to peace. Anxiety once gnawed at your mind, but now peace flows even in uncertainty. Why? Because perspective reminds you that storms do not last forever, that valleys always lead upward, that crucifixion always precedes resurrection. Peace is no longer dependent on circumstances, it flows from perspective anchored in truth. Your perspective also becomes a gift to others. People will look at your story, hear your testimony, and find strength in their own struggles. You will speak into their chaos with calmness, into their fear with courage, into their despair with hope. Not because you read it in a book, but because you lived it. This is the authority of perspective. It transforms personal pain into communal encouragement. Think of Paul, writing letters from prison, yet declaring joy. Think of Joseph, standing in a palace, yet forgiving his brothers with tears. Think of Job, restore double, after declaring, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. Each carried perspective, born of suffering, and their perspective became a legacy. You are walking in their footsteps. Chosen one. Perspective is also what keeps you steady when new storms rise. You no longer panic as you once did, because you have evidence. You know the God who delivered you before will deliver you again. You know valleys do not last forever. You know pruning always precedes fruitfulness. Perspective transforms reaction into resilience. It is important, however, to guard your perspective. The enemy cannot erase your calling, but he will try to cloud your vision. He will magnify problems to make them look bigger than promises. He will stir distraction to blur your focus. He will whisper lies to distort your understanding. That is why you must continually renew your mind, anchoring your perspective in truth. Chosen one, your perspective is a weapon. When fear rises, perspective reminds you of deliverance. When lies shout, perspective silences them with testimony. When doubt creeps in, perspective answers with memory. I have seen his hand before, I will see it again. This weapon cannot be stolen if you keep it sharpened. And here is the beauty. Perspective is not static, it grows. Every season adds new layers, new revelations, new clarity. 10 years from now, you will look back on today and see things you cannot yet see. Heaven continues to reveal, continues to unfold, continues to expand your understanding. Perspective is not the end of revelation, it is the beginning of wisdom. Chosen one, perhaps right now you are in a valley, and perspective feels far away. You wonder, how can I be grateful when I am still in pain? How can I trust when the answer has not come? How can I stand firm when everything feels unstable? Listen carefully. Perspective is not denial of reality. It is recognition of greater reality. It is the choice to see God's hand even in the shadows. It is the decision to believe deliverance even when the chains are still visible. Perspective is faith matured into vision. It is the ability to look at storms and say, "This too shall pass." It is the courage to look at wounds and declare, "These will heal." It is the strength to look at closed doors and whisper, "There is a better one ahead." This is the power heaven is birthing in you. Chosen one. Perspective transforms the way you live. It reshapes your worship. Because you no longer praise only in joy, you praise even in sorrow. It reshapes your prayer. Because you no longer beg, you declare with confidence. It reshapes your relationships. Because you no longer resent those who rejected you, you bless them, knowing they played a role in your refinement. It reshapes your dreams. Because you no longer chase what glitters, you pursue what aligns with eternity. Your journey has forged this perspective like fire forges steel. It was not given cheaply. It cost you nights of tears, seasons of silence, and battles unseen. But now you carry it as treasure, and treasure is meant to be shared. Your perspective will outlive you. It will ripple into generations. It will be remembered as your legacy of faith. So hold it dearly. Chosen one. Guard it fiercely. Share it boldly. For perspective is not just the reward of your endurance, it is the anchor for the road still ahead. Chosen one. The weight of glory is something few truly understand until they walk in it. To the outside world, glory looks like recognition, like honor, like authority. But you know better. You have discovered that the weight of glory is not a crown of gold, but a crown of fire. It is not applause, but responsibility. It is not ease, but endurance. To carry glory is to carry the presence of God in such a way that your very life becomes an altar. Glory is costly. You have learned this through pain. Before the oil of anointing flows freely, the olive must be crushed. Before the fragrance of incense fills the air, the spices must be ground. Before gold shines, it must pass through fire. And before the chosen carry glory, they must be broken, refined, tested. Your scars are proof that the weight of glory does not come cheaply. But those same scars are also proof that you were found worthy to carry it. You endured crushing and did not collapse. You endured fire and were not consumed. You endured storms and still walked forward. This is why heaven has trusted you with glory, not because you are perfect, but because you endured. Glory rests on those who refuse to quit. The ancient words in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, reveal this mystery, for our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. Chosen one, you have lived this truth. The troubles that once felt unbearable now reveal themselves as light in comparison to the eternal weight you carry. The pain was real, but the glory outweighs it. The losses were deep, but the glory surpasses them. The trials were fierce, but the glory remains greater. Nothing you endured will compare to the honor of carrying His presence in fullness. Glory is not just an atmosphere, it is transformation. It is when your life radiates a light you cannot generate on your own. People look at you and sense peace. They hear your words and feel conviction. They watch your endurance and are reminded of God's faithfulness. Glory makes you a living testimony. Without speaking a word, you shine. Without striving, you carry weight. Without trying, you influence atmospheres. This is the mark of those chosen to carry glory. But with glory also comes isolation. Few understand the weight you bear. Few comprehend the fire you walk through. Few can imagine the responsibility resting on your shoulders. That is why chosen ones often walk alone, not because they are unloved, but because the mantle they carry cannot be shared lightly. Yet even in isolation, you are never truly alone. The presence of God surrounds you. The Spirit within strengthens you, and angels accompany you. Glory also demands humility. Those who carry it must constantly remember that it is not theirs but His. The moment pride creeps in, the weight shifts from holy to heavy. That is why chosen ones are constantly humbled through trials, through rejection, through seasons that strip away self-dependence. Glory is safest in the hands of those who know they are nothing without God. And you, chosen one, have learned this well. Consider Moses. His face shone with such radiance after meeting with God that he covered it with a veil. But Moses also carried the burden of leading a people who often misunderstood him, criticized him, and rebelled against him. The glory he bore came with crushing responsibility. In the same way, the glory on your life will draw both admiration and resistance. Some will be drawn to the light, others will despise it. Both responses are confirmation of what you carry. Chosen one. You may not feel glorious. You may look at yourself and see only flaws, mistakes, and fragility. Yet glory is not about how you see yourself. It is about how heaven has marked you. The Spirit of God rests upon you, and where His Spirit is, there is glory. Whether you feel it or not, you radiate it. Whether you notice it or not, you carry it. The weight of glory also stretches beyond you. It impacts generations. When you carry His presence, you change atmospheres in your home, in your lineage, in your bloodline. Chains that held your family for decades break under the weight of glory. Curses that traveled through generations end because glory rests on you. The oil flowing on your life spills into your children, your grandchildren, those yet unborn. This is why your endurance mattered. It was never just about you. Chosen one. Carrying glory also requires surrender. You cannot cling to old ways. old wounds, old patterns. Glory demands purity, not perfection. But surrender. Every time you release what hinders you, you make more room for His presence. Every time you forgive, you make space for light. Every time you obey, you expand your capacity. Glory cannot coexist with compromise. It thrives only in vessels willing to yield completely. At times, this surrender has cost you much. You have walked away from relationships, from opportunities, from comforts that others embraced easily. It hurt. It felt unfair. But every time you chose surrender over compromise, heaven poured more glory into you. And now, though you may feel empty at times, you are actually fuller than you realize. Glory also transforms how you see suffering. You no longer ask only, "Why me?" Instead, you begin to ask, "What is being produced in me?" You understand now that trials are not random, they are preparation. Afflictions are not wasted, they are birthing something eternal. And with this perspective, you no longer see yourself as a victim of pain, but as a carrier of glory shaped through it. Chosen one. Carrying glory is not easy, but it is worth it. The presence of God resting on your life is more valuable than any treasure. It is the pearl of great price. It is the treasure in jars of clay. It is the evidence that though you are fragile, His power is perfect. This is the paradox of glory, that the weakest vessels often carry the heaviest weight. Lift your head. Beloved, do not despise the weight on your shoulders. It is not crushing you, it is crowning you. It is not punishing you, it is preparing you. The heaviness you feel is not a curse, it is the evidence of glory. You are walking proof that God entrusts His presence to those He loves deeply. Chosen one. Your life is an altar, your heart a temple, your body a vessel, and the glory you carry is not fading, it is eternal. Let it shine. Let it rest. Let it flow. For you were chosen not only to endure, but to radiate. You were chosen not only to survive, but to carry glory that outweighs it all. Chosen one. As the journey nears its culmination, you must realize the weight of the truth that has been spoken over you. Your life is not ordinary. From the very beginning, your name was whispered in the secret council of heaven. You were marked for a purpose larger than your comfort, greater than your ambitions, and deeper than your fears. You were chosen not to blend in, but to stand apart. This identity has shaped your struggles, your scars, and your strength. Every trial you endured was evidence of selection. Every rejection was proof of protection. Every valley was preparation for the unveiling of glory. Chosen ones cannot live like the rest, because they are entrusted with what the rest cannot carry. You have learned this lesson in tears and in triumph, in silence and in revelation. And now, standing on the threshold of fulfillment, you must embrace it fully. You are a vessel of divine design. The Word of God declares in the first letter of Peter, chapter 2, verse 9, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His wonderful light." Chosen one. This verse is not abstract. It is your reflection. You are royal, not because of earthly crowns, but because you carry heaven's authority. You are priestly, not because of robes or rituals, but because you stand as a bridge between God and those still wandering in shadows. You are holy, not because of flawless perfection, but because you have been set apart, and you are possessed, not by chains of darkness, but by the love of God that refuses to let you go. Look back on your story. Recall the moments you thought would destroy you, yet became testimonies of resilience. Recall the nights you thought you were alone, yet angels surrounded you. Recall the prayers you thought went unanswered, yet bore fruit in seasons you did not expect. This is the tapestry of the chosen, woven with threads of suffering and triumph, rejection and acceptance, silence and song. Your story is living, proof that chosen ones are never forsaken. Chosen one, you are stepping into fullness. This does not mean the absence of battle, but it does mean the presence of authority. It does not mean storms will stop, but it does mean you will stand unshaken. It does not mean valleys will vanish, but it does mean you will walk them with vision. Fullness is not ease, it is empowerment, and you are being empowered now to walk in the destiny heaven designed. The weight of destiny is not light. It calls you higher, demands your surrender, refines your motives, and stretches your endurance. But you, beloved, are ready, not because you feel strong, but because God is strong within you, not because you have all the answers, but because you have learned to trust the one who holds them, not because you are flawless, but because grace covers every weakness. Chosen one, hear this clearly. Your scars are crowns. The very wounds you tried to hide are proof of your survival. The very places of pain have become altars of praise. You are not marked by failure, you are marked by victory. Even in weakness, you shine with the evidence of God's faithfulness. Even in brokenness, you carry beauty. Even in ashes, you carry fire. Think of the generations to come. Your endurance has shifted the atmosphere of your lineage. The chains that bound those before you have been broken because you chose obedience. The prayers you whispered in private will echo into the lives of children and grandchildren yet unborn. Your yes to God has altered history, not only for yourself, but for those who will follow. This is the legacy of the chosen. They do not live only for themselves, they live for generations. Chosen one, your story will inspire, not because it is flawless, but because it is real. People will hear of your valleys and find courage in their own. They will see your scars and believe healing is possible. They will watch your endurance and realize that surrender to God is worth every cost. This is the power of testimony. It multiplies hope, and your life will be a song of hope sung over many. Lift your head. Beloved, you are not the same person who began this journey. You have been refined, reshaped, renewed. You walk now with wisdom that cannot be faked, with discernment that cannot be denied, with authority that cannot be stolen. You are unshakable not because life has been easy, but because grace has been sufficient. You are unstoppable not because you never fell, but because you kept rising. You are chosen not because of what you did, but because of who He is. Chosen one, embrace your mantle, wear your crown, walk boldly into your destiny. The world is darker than ever, but that only means your light is needed more than ever. You were born for such a time as this. You were hidden for such a time as this. You were preserved for such a time as this. Step into it without fear, for heaven has decreed it, and no force can deny it. And as you walk forward, remember this: your best days are not behind you. They are before you. The road ahead is filled with battles, yes, but also with victories. It is lined with challenges, yes, but also with crowns. It is marked by fire, yes, but also by glory. You are stepping not into despair, but into destiny, not into endings, but into beginnings, not into darkness, but into marvelous light. Chosen one, let your heart rest in this truth. You are sealed. You are loved. You are appointed. You are anointed. Nothing can change that. Nothing can erase it. Nothing can undo what heaven decided before time began. You are chosen, and chosen you will remain, forever and always. Chosen one. Before you leave this space, pause. You did not arrive here by accident, and you did not finish this journey by chance. Heaven aligned every step that brought you to these words, and if you are still reading, it is because your spirit knows there was something in this message meant only for you. This is not the end of your story, it is only the beginning of your unveiling. What you have just walked through is not merely information, it is impartation. It is a reminder that you are chosen, that you are sealed, that your destiny is written in eternity. And as you carry this truth forward, do not carry it alone. The light inside you is not meant to stay hidden, it is meant to shine, to spread, to awaken others who are still wandering in the dark. This is why I ask you, with sincerity and with love, share this message, not for numbers, not for vanity, but because someone in your circle is desperate for the confirmation you just received. Someone you know is weary, broken, and ready to quit, and your simple act of sharing could be the lifeline that pulls them back from despair. Do not underestimate the power of your obedience. Chosen one, let your engagement today be prophetic. Like this word as a declaration that you agree with it. A like may feel small, but it is your way of saying, yes, I choose light over darkness. Yes, I receive my identity as chosen. Comment as well. Not with paragraphs or explanations, but with what burns most in your spirit. Even a short word is enough sometimes. I receive. Sometimes I believe. Sometimes I am chosen. When you write it, you are not just leaving text on a screen, you are sealing a covenant with heaven. Your words carry life. And this moment is your opportunity to declare agreement. And finally, subscribe. Stay connected, not because you need more content, but because you need continual reminders of who you are. The world is loud. Distractions are many, and discouragement often creeps in. Staying connected ensures that your fire does not grow dim. It keeps you aligned with words that feed your spirit and strengthen your walk. Beloved, you have endured much, and yet you are still here. That alone is proof of God's hand on your life. Let this final act like, share, comment, subscribe, be your prophetic response to what heaven has spoken over you. Not for me, but for you. Not for visibility, but for victory. Not for numbers, but for nations. Chosen one, rise boldly. Declare your agreement. Spread the light, and never forget, you are chosen. You are crowned. You are unstoppable.